A warm welcome to you aboard this show. We call it the AM show, or if you like, the Ben and Sweetie show. But let's tell you what we're serving you this morning. The news will follow in a bit, followed by the news review. Three stalwarts join the conversations. Nelson Jabab is MP for Karachi East. He's with the NDC. Nanayal Sapong is with the Movement for Change. And Dr. Ishaq Ibrahim is a lecturer and a member of the NPP's Communications Directorate. Followed by sports, courtesy of our very own Ango Haruna Mubarak will be joining us for that. And then we get into the big stories, one of the topical matters we've been talking about throughout this week.
You must have heard that the presidency says no further action is required beyond caution, according to government spokesperson Felix Kwachofosu, on the matter of the acting CEO of GoldBod, and he's come out unscathed now, days after that viral video of dollar gifts sparked controversy, dividing opinions as to what could happen to him. But the opposition NPP says the decision renders President Mahama's code of conduct toothless. What do you also make of this decision? We'll hear from you and our guests later on the show. But that's not all.
Well, we'll be talking about your health vis-a-vis what you put inside your body. Are you concerned about the content of the food you eat? I'm talking about the level or quantum of calories, sugars, salt, saturated fats. Sodium is not the worst thing for you, but too much of it could cause you problems. Calories are good, but some of them are not exactly the best. We'll be talking about the push for the front of the pack warnings on packaged products and how important it is for our health and the need to enforce that regime. So if you pick a product, do you visibly, immediately see what the contents are? And are you able to make a decision? That will be the conversation. You want to stick and stay for that.
Well, folks, you are invited to join us with your comments and thoughts via all social media platforms. We are Joy News on TV. Later on in the show, we get to open the phone lines and then you get to call in and share your thoughts with us. But for now, first on our order is the AM News. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the AM News on the AM Show, which is sponsored by Waylead Properties, providing quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment options. Now, the news in detail. Mixed reactions have greeted the traders' decision to put the brakes on any immediate price reduction. The Association of Ghana Industries and the Ghana Union of Traders Association say any meaningful reduction in the prices of goods can only be expected after a 60-day period. This was the outcome of a high-level meeting between the two influential trade bodies and the Minister of Trade, aimed at addressing public concerns over persistent price hikes despite the recent strengthening of the Ghana Cedi. Dr. Joseph Obeng is the president of GUTA.
And we will do our job. We will respond positively. The market forces will determine the prices and it will respond positively. We are in a highly competitive market. Most importers have started getting benefits of this, and most of them have started showing and sharing the benefit to the consuming public. You just have to search the market and you'll find this. But all that we need is for government to do its work, do whatever it is to sustain this, and by 2 months' time, everybody in the country will witness the fact that the business community also think about the consuming public. We depend on our customers, the consuming public, to survive as businesses. And there's no way we will not share any gains when we have it. When we have it, we will share with you. And so all that we are all talking about is sustainability and predictability. And that's a game. And so we thank you. And we are waiting upon the government also to do its bit by sustaining the currency, the gains here.
President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Ayimdake, says his members are observing the market trends and will adjust accordingly.
We commend government and also say to government that we are committed to the cause of reflecting these gains in our pricing in our various business activities. As stated by my colleague, it's as a result of the forces of demand and supply that determines price on the market. We believe sincerely that within the period of 60 days from now, this impact will be translated onto the final price of our products that we wholesale and retail. We also strongly believe that in the midterm budget review, we will see further reflection and commitment from government regarding these gains. We urge government to also carefully engage in its austerity measures regarding the fiscal expenditures. We shouldn't go to the extreme as a result of these gains and overspend. We respectfully believe that our commitment to government is to make sure that the business environment and the agenda of government in resetting the country is achieved mutually for our mutual benefit.
Now, my colleague Noella Karinyale has been engaging some consumers and traders at Makola Market right here in Accra, and they shared their reactions as well.
In the last few days, members of the general public have been calling for a reduction in the prices of goods and services following the appreciation of the cedi against the dollar and the consistent drop in fuel prices. Well, there's been a back and forth between the traders and government on where they stand on this issue. But we've got a big announcement, and that's GUTA and AGI coming out to say that Ghanaians will have to wait at least 60 days for that reduction in the prices of goods and services to happen. And so we're here at the Makola Market to find out or sample thoughts from the public on what they make of this news.
I just came and buy some few items for my shop, and I'm having a little challenge about the price that they are giving the things to me. So I was challenging the woman that now the dollar has come down, so why is it still the price is up? And he say if I like I should buy or I should go. So I'm very worried about that one. If I have this opportunity, I want to tell the president to engage with the businesswomen in Makola to let them know that now the dollar has come down, so they should reduce the price of the goods so that we too we can purchase some and go and sell.
GUTA, the association on that speaks on behalf of these traders, are saying that that would be able to happen in 2 months.
It is going to worry us very, very. As for me, I'm not happy. So they should do something about it. We can't wait for 2 months, or some of us will keep our cities till the 2 months. And some people can come and ask they want to buy certain things, and we cannot come and buy it here. And then later on, you have your things in your shop. When they reduce it in 2 months, they will tell us to reduce the things, which is going to affect our businesses. So we are begging GUTA to quickly come in before 2 months so that we too have our peace of mind.
Family so and my head, it's say,
this would have been great news, but some of us ordered and paid for goods when the dollar was much higher, and these goods will arrive in the country in the coming months. For such goods, how will GUTA expect me to price them? If I should reduce the price of such goods, I will run at a loss.
And Obi Abedina Papa catcher, I see at $1. It's the answer near Maso. At $1, when the Paracofa near my bands and at $1, or better than what is so.
It's the same thing. It's as if the prices are high. Maybe cedi to dollar ratio is less now, but it hasn't changed. The market is still the same thing. Things are still expensive.
You think in 2 months they still won't, nothing will happen?
Nothing happen. It's just like before.
In 2 months, no one better so say, or then on better so. Because I saw a mayor woman, who see at TBBS. Me, your first dealer, me ton force, me top bay, me centra. Beba, when you 15 million, me new currency, ni kameka 1,500. You told me 25 million. 2,500. And 2,500, ni a ton 5,000. And the ton 1,500 no, and you ton 45. It is a dollar na one yateso. Ye $1 one yateso. Because any money ya sise go. Ya ton ya money dida. 40 base.
We've already bought a lot of goods. So how do they expect us to reduce prices when we also bought them at prices that have been tripled?
A big store, and she says, "On Toria, ultimate dollar." So, and she say, "Yaton, your money, we are near Usafedia, or man, and Muajo, Snabel, or Yaka crown to me. Tama airport, me baba, when a car was a sea. I walk where you want to me.
Can't even clear our cars at the port. Neither goods we bought from China.
Who quite China crowded in him about to me for your money. What I say? Who quite China now about to me for your money? Yes, duty. Yes, dollar cost dollar. Yes, yes, $1 yeah.
Yeah, but then pan be mamma to me to sing your manners.
Says, dear, bet me a meatin your manners on the say. Yan mana yato guono.
We can only agree to reduce our prices when we exhaust what we already have in stock.
The baby 6 months and I'm meeting me at home. Munyo man amaton de dana and one a same way.
Better because say wait, first next 15 cities. And I can say 15 cities. Say 45. 45. And what is a big one me? What's $1? And to where you 15 cities. Yet to me,
it's very fine if they reduce it, yeah, because things are very expensive nowadays. So it's cool if they do it like that for us.
Still on the Cedi gains matter, however, the Trade and Industry Minister Elizabeth Ufuswejari is hopeful that the ongoing negotiations between the trade bodies will yield positive results.
The meeting has been very fruitful. It has been frank. We have stated that government does not have the power to control prices, but government has the power to negotiate with our stakeholders to ensure that traders, manufacturers, and consumers take advantage of an opportunity when it happens. I'm happy to inform you that the direct importers have agreed to reduce their prices, and some have already started that already. We've also heard from GUTA and AGI that it is good that the Cedi has stabilized. They need a bit of time to let this reflect in their prices. It will happen gradually. The direct importers have started reducing their prices for the retailers, and this will be total when the old stock comes down. They're able to find an average from the new stock and the old stock, and prices will certainly go down. But this will be total in about 60 days. We hope that the Cedi will keep doing well. We hope that all the indicators will even improve, and they are happy to let the general public and consumers take a benefit of the stabilized economy. Government has created an enabling environment for their businesses to thrive, and it is fair that they transfer part of the dividends to the customers, because we are all working together as a country so that the cost of living will reduce. I am happy that they have explained their bit to me and my team. We also explained ours to them, and this is the consensus.
Let's move on to the Cedi gains now and enter the health sector. Now, some people were trained to save lives, but today, these same people, rotational nurses and midwives, are the ones fighting to survive. After nearly a year without pay, their patience has run out. The Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association is calling for immediate government intervention, warning that continued silence is endangering lives. Stephen Mensah has more in the story.
They heal, they comfort, and they stand at the front line of Ghana's health system. But for almost a year, they have worked without a single cedi. Now, the Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association is demanding answers. Ebenezer Boateng, president of the Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association, is one of many young health professionals forced to take on menial jobs just to keep body and soul together.
Life has been unbearable for us. Very unbearable. Now, we have to venture into other enterprise and other means to survive. I sell second-hand clothes. and I make a living out of that. We are going through a lot. We have been borrowing, sports betting, among other things. About 2 years ago, a colleague rotation nurse had to hang himself, may his soul rest in peace, because he was owing a lot of people and he had no means to pay them.
At least 5 of their colleagues have died during this period, some from preventable conditions. Another 6 are battling chronic illnesses they cannot afford to treat. The cost of delay, they say, is no longer just financial. It is fatal. Ebenezer's story is not unique. Mavis, another nurse, says the financial pressure is pushing her to the edge.
At times we have to borrow before we eat. We the ladies, we are really suffering. When a man proposes to you, even if you don't like that person, you have to still take it. Because you will get money to go to work. We are taking monies from people, borrowing, accepting all proposals of which we don't like it, but we are still doing it. Why? Because we want to get something for us to go to work. It's because of the passion we have for the job. It's because we love Ghanaians. It's because of Ghanaians' health. That is why we are doing that. Please, Mr. President.
With 14 working days on the clock, the association wants 2 things: immediate financial clearance and full payment of arrears. If not, further action will follow, and that could mean walking away from patients who need them most. Stephen Mentor's report for Joy News.
Girls' education officers in the Central Region are revamping their efforts in fighting sexual abuse in schools with one-day capacity building workshop. According to the coordinator of the workshop, Priscilla Christabel-Ishen, the girls' education officers have realized the need to handle sexual abuse cases more professionally, and the workshop is a way of equipping the officers with more informed tools to combat the menace. Here's more.
That victims of sexual abuse in schools are not only females but males as well. Girls' education officers in the Central Region are renewing their skills in handling cases through a one-day capacity building workshop. The coordinator of the workshop, Priscilla Christabel-Ishen, explains the need for a capacity building training.
In the discharge of our duties, we encounter cases of sexual abuse in our schools. And as girls' education officers, we do not want to handle such cases with emotions. We want to handle them professionally. So this capacity building workshop was aimed at equipping the girls' officers with the right information to know where to go to when they are confronted with cases of abuse. And I can confidently say that our officers are really satisfied with what was provided. We are appealing to all organizations that have the interest of children at heart, the school children, to come to our aid and support us with such training workshops in order to help our officers to promote safe spaces for our learners to thrive in their academic pursuits.
In a speech, the Deputy Central Regional Director of Education, Harriet Odura Idonsego, urged the girls' education officers to refer to appropriate codes of conduct in executing their duties to ensure fairness in their mandates.
And a lot of our issues come with human rights, and there are laws that govern our activities. We can't just go with our emotions. We must be supported with whatever we have to stay safe. So kindly remember to consult the criminal law. Act, I think it's Act 29 of 1960 and Section 101. And then the Ghana education rules that we have.
Segrad UCC Director Eunice Faye Emisa describes the workshop as a wake-up call.
Today, we believe that the girls' educational officers have been sensitized enough. They've upgraded or updated their knowledge on defilement, on sexual harassment, and also on gender. And we believe that when they go back to their schools, they will be able to also further sensitize and educate girls, both girls and boys, on what they have learned today. And with this, the outcome is that we're expecting that at the end of the day, we'll have a more safer school environment for both girls and boys in Ghana.
In more news, Joy News, in partnership with the German Embassy, will be rolling out the first of a series of climate change-centered conversations dubbed Climate Talks, starting today. The maiden edition will be held at the Freeman Methodist Church in Jamestown under the topic Clean Cooking. The initiative aims to raise awareness about Ghana's nationally determined contributions, highlight private sector investment opportunities, and rally community support for climate action towards Agenda 2030. But why clean cooking and why Jamestown? We'll tell you more in this report.
School for use gas. Gas is the best for bread bakers and school children for domestic cooking, but it's not suitable for a large-scale fishmongering.
That will be very helpful, but the government must understand that this is what we do to feed our dependents. Introducing gas alternatives should not deprive us of our livelihood.
As of 2021, about 54.3% of households in Ghana still relied on solid biomass for cooking, with 31.1% depending on firewood and 23.2% on charcoal, often using inefficient, rudimentary stoves. Jamestown is one such community where large-scale cooking takes place, both commercially and domestically. It's famed for one of Accra's favorite dishes, kenke, and is also a hub for fishmongering, where traditional smoking methods give fish their unique taste and aroma. But these traditional cooking methods come at a cost to our health.
The firewood is affecting our health, especially my eyes.
Nearby, Patience Tete and her fellow fishmongers who rely on traditional ovens fueled by firewood. Patience knows about gas stoves, but explains her preference for wood.
Where use gas? I just say Jana, and I say that say we
can't use gas. We can only use firewood, especially when it comes to salmon. We prefer the golden brown look that comes after smoking. You can only achieve that with a traditional firewood oven.
Increasing access to clean cooking solutions, particularly through LPG promotion, offers a strategic pathway to reduce deforestation, protect diversity, and mitigate climate change impacts.
The only challenge with the gas is that we are afraid. We fear it might run out while the kenke is still cooking, and then would have to rush out to look for more. What if we don't get any?
The government of Ghana, through the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, is currently constructing a new Jamestown slaughterhouse and abattoir to ease conditions here. Still, much more is needed for Ghana to realize its green transition. Emefa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli for Joy News, Jamestown.
But remember to tune in today at exactly 10 a.m. for the Jamestown conversation on clean cooking, here on the Joy News channel and also on Asempar FM. Climate Talks is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with the German Embassy. Make a date with us right after the AM show. And that takes us into a business update now with Benjamin Akakpo.
Welcome to our business updates. We start with the currency market for today. In our lone story for the morning, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana says there is justification for a reduction in transport fares following the consecutive reduction in prices of petroleum products since the beginning of the year. According to the Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amwa, the time is right for a drop in transport fares to cushion customers. He spoke to Joy Business.
Pius, you recall not long ago on your platform, I reiterated the need for us to go slowly on the public transport operators so that if it so happened prices went up tomorrow, we wouldn't be asking them to go and increase transport fares. Where we are now, we at COPEC would agree that the time is ripe. We are in a proper time for transport operators to now look at reducing transport fares by a minimum 10-15% to be able to ease the pressure on commuters. I say this on the back of the fact that cumulatively, we have recorded in excess of 18% reductions since the start of the year when fuel, petrol, diesel, LPG were all trading above 15 a litre. If today you are doing almost 3 Ghana Cedi of that, you've seen something significant happen. And so they don't have an excuse at this point to say they won't reduce transport fares. So we would start the negotiations or discussions with them or persuading them to reduce fares so that the market women can also have a justification to reduce the cost of their goods and services. Any excuse at this point to hold transport fares at the levels they are, I don't think will be justified or sustainable. So we are asking at this point that they go down on transport fares, both the electronic and the non-electronic public transport operators should see to it that the average Ghanaian who uses their services get the benefit of the fuel price reductions that we have seen. And then again, GUTA also asking its members to reduce prices. We are quite mindful of the fact that it would affect the cost of parts and even lubricants. And so whatever the excuse was 2 weeks ago, it no longer can be justified. And we think that the transport operators would have to begin in earnest. Maybe by Monday, we should see the reductions in transport fares take effect.
Well, on the back of the America-China tariff hold on, the price of gold has been falling a bit. But let's find out now what the major commodities, including gold, are trading for. Thank you for staying for our business updates, and that's how we cap it off. Back to you, Sweetie Abochi.
Bringing us business updates, and that wraps up the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. The conversations begin now, starting with a news review segment coming up right in a bit. Segment on the AM Show. The AM Show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, and if you're thinking of a rewarding investment you can engage in, then Waylead Company Limited is your preferred for such investment. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several development suite credits in Accra. And the latest development, Willow Lane, is where elegance always meets tranquility in the heart of Accra. That's where you should invest in. We provide quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment option. And we provide 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay a memorable one. Give us a call now on these numbers, 0240-111-119 or 0504-499-999. You can also visit our website at www.waylead.org for more information. And that brings us straight to my guest in studio for us to kickstart the conversations. I have the Member of Parliament for Karachi East, Mr. Honorable Nelson Jabab. And we have Nanaya Sapong from the Movement of Change and Dr. Ishaq Ibrahim, lecturer and member of the NPP Communications Directorate. Gentlemen, welcome aboard the News Review segment.
Thank you very much.
Doc, I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a long, but just let me just correct something quickly. I'm not a doctor, actually.
Oh.
I'm a lawyer by profession.
Okay.
Called to both the English bar and the Ghana.
My bad, sorry.
And that's enough for me.
Thank
for
you.
Now.
Okay, so I'll stick with Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes.
And the legislator for Karachi is the first time on the News Review segment. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay. Nana Sapong, you are a familiar face, so I'll start with you. You know how we do it. I will give you a minute and a half to walk us through any reflections you may have on any issue, really, that is of national interest. What's on your mind?
A lot on my mind. I think one main issue that has been going through my mind the whole of the week has to do with these scrap dealers, you know, these young boys who go around and gathering scraps across the length and breadth of our nation. One thing that I have realized, it's actually been in the news for some time, but I think that it is high time we all became probably watchdogs for our communities. They are stealing too much of these metals that we use, you know, on these drainage that are being constructed by these road contractors. And it's causing a lot of troubles for road users. And the most areas that have been affected are the residential areas that has link roads. Because during working hours, you will notice that everybody goes to work. And then that is the time you see them pushing their trucks through these areas, and they steal these metals that we have used to actually prevent animals from crossing into our homes and from, you know, all of these things. And sometimes we ask ourselves why they steal them. You know that you are removing this metallic object and it's going to create troubles. The open hole that anybody could fall in, cars the tires could get into it and get mechanical problems, and yet they go about to steal them. And some people see them, but yet they would fail to talk about it because they are scared for their lives. I think the police should increase the visibility, and if we could have a 24-hour check, you know, patrol within residential areas during working hours, it's going to help.
Right. You ask why they steal them, because they see profits in them. They don't care about the rest of us.
It's not profitable, you know, because when they sell them, those things
scrap.
Scrap.
That's what they know. Anyway, Mr. Ibrahim, what take for us?
I think what is in mind this morning is access to justice. A lot of people doesn't realize it's really a problem until they get into trouble. Many people, especially the poor, struggles. Because of that, we have a lot of people on remand who doesn't actually have legal representation. They are not able to see even their first day in court. Because of that, we have a legal clinic at the UPSA. We call it the UPSA Legal Clinic, whereby we try to help. We used to do it in coordination with the American Embassy and that of University of California. And I think that partnership is coming to an end. We're urging more lawyers who wants to do pro bono that we visit once a month at Nsawam prison. Just to give some of the citizens who are left behind the opportunity to see their day in court. Because some people are on remand up to 7 years, 8 years,
Absolutely.
of which if we are convicted, maybe 6 months, 1 year, then you go home. Why are you on remand for that long? So if we are being charitable, let's not forget those vulnerable who have been caught up by the law.
Thank you so much. It reminds me of a story I read on Facebook about a man in a similar situation, and thanks to Oliver Bakavomawo and his team, I believe, they've been able to sue the Ghana Police Service and some other, for some millions of Ghana cedis, because this man has been wrongfully incarcerated with no probation, nothing. They just forgot him. They abandoned him there. Anyway, Mr. Member of Parliament, your turn now.
Thank you, Siri. And, I'm grateful this morning. First of all, I thank your viewers. I thank the good people of Karachi East for letting me in. Before I make my point, I want to comment briefly on Nana's point on these crab drillers and the dangers it poses to Ghana. Yesterday I watched a video, and they've even taken it now to the bridges along the Nsawam highway. You know, the scrap dealers sometimes go dig these gutters, dig the bridges, the drains, all with the attempt to remove the iron rods in it. I mean, what kind of greed? The drains he was talking about, if you are walking in the streets of Accra, you see a place where they've taken the metallic cover off. And, you know, unknowingly somebody could fall into this and get maimed for life.
True.
So I think it's something that we have to look at it. There should be 24-hour surveillance as recommended on this. And to my point, I would like to comment on the appreciation of the Cedi as against the major currencies, especially the euro, the British pound, the dollar. And I think this is a positive something. Ghanaians, we need to embrace. We need to at least encourage the leadership of the government for the good work they are doing. The John Mahama are to foreign-led economy. That is a very good initiative, and we hope that it be carried on. The little I can add is on the trade unions, the GUTA, the AGI, I know they are in dialogue with their members. The consuming public is crying for a reduction in the prices of the general goods. But they are also making a point that because of predictability and sometimes sustainability, they are not too certain. So they want to see sometime, they want to monitor this. But I want to assure them that this economy has come to stay.
Okay. All right. Since you went there, and I think it's one of the biggest stories in the country right now, because we are all consumers.
Yes.
And if you're seeing the Cedi appreciate, we expect it to reflect in the amount of goods and services we can get with our monies. So let's get there. Let me start with you, Mr. Ibrahim. What do you make of the call from GUTA on Ghanaians or consumers to be patient, give them that 60-day window for them to ascertain whether they can sustain the gains that the Cedi is making? And what the consumers are also saying, that if the Cedi is appreciating, it must reflect somehow in our pockets, in our expenditure.
That's right. There are several ways we can look at it. I suppose tell us that perhaps the traders are not very confident about the ability of the Cedi to maintain, the ability of the government to maintain the Cedi at that level. Probably they are suspecting maybe is the external issues, maybe the de-dollarization. But at the same time, you can see the hypocrisy in them as well. Because whenever the dollar goes up, they don't wait till the stock that is already in existence to finish so that the prices, the new price will reflect in the new stock.
Have we seen this before?
Which one?
Have we seen the Cedi appreciate to the point where consumers are calling for a reduction in prices, and GUTA and the other, the industry players are saying that give us a 60-day window? Have we seen this before?
No, no, perhaps I've never.
I haven't. That's what I'm asking.
But the point I'm trying to make is that usually you can see some hypocrisy in their side. If they use not to do that, it's understandable that you can't just call for reduction in price straight away. because the existing stock was bought at higher prices. But in the past, they have taken unfair advantage by increasing prices immediately. But it also tells me that they lack confidence in the government's ability to maintain the city. So they want to wait and see whether that level can be maintained, because fluctuation can always happen. Because some of us suspect that. Because I have not actually seen an actual policy of the government that led to the reduction in the cedi. The de-dollarization is having effect. But government said there is a deliberate policy put in place. So maybe they want to wait and see. But as I said, at the end of the day, the Ghanaian is the priority of every politician.
Right.
And the Guta need to have that in mind.
Okay.
And because of democracy too, you cannot theoretically force somebody to reduce price.
True.
Yes.
And it's a free market here in Ghana.
It's a free market. Yes.
Nana Asapon, your take on this matter?
Yes.
Cedi appreciates, citizens are saying prices should reduce.
It's an interesting play. Cedi, you were asking whether or not this had happened before. I think somewhere 2021 or 2022, I can't remember. But there was some little stability that Guta actually called on its members to reduce prices. But it was just but for a short while, all right? And then the dollar started rising again. But I am of the view that, listen, if we have been able to take advantage of the current happenings with the trade war, and this has been able to help stabilize our city, coupled with the fiscal discipline that has been introduced by the Ministry of Finance and the review of the monetary policy that is being spearheaded by the Bank of Ghana, led by Dr. Addison, why not? You understand? Why not? I believe that we should be able to take advantage over everything that happens in a market. Yesterday, if Ukraine-Russia war led to the collapse of some economy, led to the speed in the depreciation of our cedi against the dollar, and we were made to believe that indeed nothing could be done about it. And today, the trade war is helping to bring it down. And we have been able to review our monetary policy and to introduce other fiscal discipline that is helping to sustain it for this time. Why do we have to cry?
Okay.
All right. All we need to do, you see, Cedi, is the fact that we need to be able to encourage the market to be able to beat down their prices. Two forms of the market: those that are into manufacturing and those that are into what I call the tonatong, the importers.
Yeah.
All right. The importers would be feeling the impact of the dollar being depreciated. That's the appreciation of the cedi. They say the dollar doesn't depreciate, so the cedi appreciating, all right, because they deal directly with the main element that they deal with is the forex. So at least for them, they should be honorable enough, all right, realistic enough to be able to reduce, just as
Mr. Ibrahim?
IB said.
Yeah.
I'm going IB on also. So, yes, just as IB said.
All right.
They should be able to reduce it, because once the dollar rises, they do not ask permission or tell us that they have old stock. They increase prices. The manufacturers, yes, I can understand, because other elements come to play in terms of operational cost. We have the issues of the electricity, we have transport, we have blah, blah, blah come into play. But sweetie, even with that, we should get to a point somewhere in the next review of the tariffs by the PURC, that we should see a downwards adjustment. I have been drumming this. Why? Because the bedrock for these adjustments in PURC's tariffs has been the forex. If you ask them, they will tell you that their contracts are in dollar. They buy their things in dollars. The forex has been a major effect on them, and that is the reason why they are proposing for an upwards adjustment.
Okay.
Now the dollar is stabilized. All right. In fact, not only stabilized, it is the city.
No, it's our point made, and it's a good call. I think we all united in the call to say there's something we can do about it. Yeah. Let's do it, because at the end of the day, the Ghanaian is the priority of this administration. So that takes us into the newspapers, and I'll start with the Ghanaian Times. On the front page, access to medical care, no protocol. The Ghana Health Service Director General declares. President pardons Sammy Gyamfi. Leverage SML Ghana platform to increase revenue, according to Professor Boateng, and he's urging government. So let's start from page 12 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, where the Director General of the Ghana Health Service is saying no protocol. So the Director General of Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akoria, has called for an end to the widespread practice of patients needing connections or protocols to access medical care across public hospitals in the country. He described the situation as unacceptable, stressing that every Ghanaian deserves equal access to healthcare regardless of their social status. And he's right. He says no Ghanaian should go to the hospital and need to know somebody before being treated. Let me add two stories and then we'll start discussing. Of course, the story of Sammy Gyamfi being pardoned by the presidency is also topical. The presidency has accepted the public apology of the acting chief executive of the Ghana GoldBod, Sammy Gyamfi, in relation to his United States dollars gift to church entrepreneur, I like to call her, Patricia Esiedua, popularly known as Agrada. We all know the story. I'll not get into this. I will not spend too much time on this. And register excavators, farm mechanic propelled equipment without delay, according to DVLA. And owners of excavators and farming equipment have been given a 2-week ultimatum to register the excavators and mechanic propelled farming equipment without delay, effective yesterday. And that directive, according to the CEO of DVLA, Mr. Julius Nikwe-Kote, follows the discovery of about 50 unregistered excavators found within forest areas across the country that had not been registered with the authority. These three stories will begin our conversations, and I want to start with you, Mr. Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Which of these do you want to start from?
Okay, we can talk about the health issues. Yeah. I think Sammy Gyamfi one, as you said, a lot have been said about it, unless you want me to add to the debate.
Well, I mean, the latest update now is he has been pardoned.
Yes, which is, okay, then that one is more topical. Let me deal with it. I think 3-4 days ago, a lot of people have spoken about hypocrisy in the past. That what he has done is not new. People have been giving gifts, especially during the campaign. People give gifts. Primaries, people give gifts. That to scale things. And that by our culture, we encourage giving. And if you're a Muslim or a Christian, there's the idea of giving. But I think some of these arguments are misplaced for a number of reasons. Why do I say that? During the campaign, we were made to understand that President Akufo-Addo and his surrogates were corrupt, and that there was a program called Aura. And Aura was meant to root out the corrupt officials. So if you campaign on that basis and say you are going to go for reset, I remember hearing Sammy himself directly when money was found in Cecilia Japar's house. He himself, he said some of the texts. He said, why is somebody keeping dollars in their house?
Okay, so according to the statement that the presidency released, in accordance...
I've read the statement. Okay. Let me lie. So the Cecilia Japar will be asking today, why is dollars doing in your car? So you have such a standards. And we had a president and a team that said they were going to, they campaign on reset and said the old ways of doing things need to go. So even if it's a law is not broken, he has failed the appearance test. Because you have told Ghanaians that there's a new way of doing things.
You're saying the optics are bad?
Yes, the appearance is just so bad. Because even if a law is not broken, some people say laws have been broken. But the appearance test, the social contract you have with Ghanaians that you were going to do things in a different way. We have never seen you video sharing dollars when you were in opposition or previously. Now we have seen you sharing dollars, and everybody knows gold and dollars move together, just as drugs and prostitution move together. Gold and dollars move together. You have now been put in charge of our gold. And now you started sharing dollars. The appearance test, what would the members of the public say if they see that you are sharing dollars and you are in charge of our gold?
Does it not do anything? So
perhaps the president has become what he used to accuse Akufo-Addo, clearing agent. We have seen a first clearer. As we told you, celebrating your first 120 days is very easy because of low-hanging fruit. The heavy lifting is where the problem is. Okay. So everybody knows Sammy is his darling boy. This is where the heavy lifting, this is where we make the decision. And he has failed in that particular decision.
Let me come in at this point. Let me come in at this point.
Yes.
Does it do anything to your submission or opinion, the optics, as you say, that the man immediately realized that he done a mistake and apologized, unwarranted?
Yes, but if a Sakawa boy was to be seen there sharing dollars, apology will not do. They said, let's find out the source of the money.
You said he said he's going to do things differently.
Yes.
And so according to the code of conduct for his public officials, there's reprimand, apology, and all that.
So what I'm saying is that, yes, I accept that. And as I've already told you, in the past, certain things have happened. People acknowledge them. But what I'm saying is that it is not for the president to pardon him. It's for us to clear the mind of the public that the appearance test was bad. At least the investigation needs to be carried out.
All right.
For us to say he has done nothing wrong.
All right. Mr. Jabab, what's your take on this? The latest update on this Sammy Gyamfi dollar gift saga?
Thank you very much. I have a different opinion from what Lawyer Ibrahim just said. Sammy Gyamfi, immediately this happened, the man realized he felt very remorseful within himself. So he apologized to the general Ghanaian public. The following day, what we saw was that the presidency invited him. In fact, the chief of staff invited him and for questioning. They invited him for interrogations. And after that, you know, per code of conduct, as you said, one of the guiding principles is sometimes you can caution the person looking at the gravity of the offense. So he was cautioned that what you have done, it shouldn't be the case that Sammy Gyamfi is a darling boy of the president, is this and that. No. The gentleman we're talking about, Sammy Gyamfi, if privately you have ever had an encounter with him or you have ever met him, is a generous person. But we are saying that probably the act. And then also, lawyer went by saying that sharing dollars. No, I would like to put things straight over there. It wasn't sharing.
But I want us to focus on the latest updates and what it does. He's saying that the optics are bad. To see that the president came in with this heavy commitments that he's going to keep his appointees in line, launches this, you know, code of conduct for his officials and appointees, and then we see this, it may or may not be true that he's the darling boy of the president, but the way it looks that right after we we assess your 120 days in office, this happens and you give him a reprimand. Does it look good, would you say? That's the argument that Mr. Ibrahim is making, that the optics.
I do understand it, but the point I'm trying to make it, let's look at the basis. Now, the woman in question, popularly known as Evangelist Agrada. Evangelist Agrada, naturally, by Ghanaian hospitality, somebody asks you for something, you can give. You see, at that point in time, it could happen that what currency Sammy Gyamfi had on him was that dollar. I hope you are getting me. It could happen what he had on himself. Probably he traveled, returned, he has some dollars in his car which has no use.
Mr. Jabab,
and he decided to give that one.
Is good enough to deter other public officials from falling into the same soup? It's a reprimand.
It's a reprimand, I do agree.
To solidify the commitments the president is making that he's going to keep his
Of course, yes, it's good enough to caution him in the first place. Don't do this again. You will agree with me that fairly, this is a young executive officer, barely 4 months in office or less. And so what has he done? What is the gravity of this? He gave. There is no any indication of probably stealing from somewhere, which you can link to the money he gave.
All right. I'll come back to you on the other stories that we read. Nana Asapong, let's take your reflections on this story.
On this particular one, I know I've made my stand very clear. No, I just want to make a recall that this is very clear. I mean, number one, it was in the privacy of his car. Right. Number two, there's nowhere in the president's code of conduct that was launched that he breached. If you look at the aspect of the gift, which is on the page 28.
Doesn't fall under opulence?
It does not. That is when you have shown
it does not
out I'm looking for a particular word, but did you see him display in lavish?
Just counting them?
Open display in a lavish way to borrow a word, the Sakawa boys do. No, it was in the privacy of his car. And I give an example. It's just like you filming me in the comfort of my home when I am counting money. And then you would send it to the president and ask him to fire me because I'm counting money in my home. Let us be honest. The gentleman was counting money in the privacy of his car.
You do know that.
He gave money
you're a public official. That's why you're a public official.
In the
place.
No, so are we advocating that once you're a public official and you go out, you shouldn't put your hands in your pocket to bring out money?
Right. So this is what I'm saying, that I think we've overflogged the horse of what was done, the dollar, the person who was receiving the
It is just because
the
of the
latest
person
update is what I want
involved.
us to focus on.
Of
what
course.
it does.
That is the extent.
Yeah.
That is the extent the president can go.
So that's it.
That's it.
It sits well with you.
Number one, the gentleman apologized. That listen, he did not realize.
One will apologize. We'll let them out.
He did not realize that this was what was going to be this is how we were going to interpret it.
So it sits well with you. You have no problem there. All right. So
let's not rise this. You see, let's be real with this. One, when something happens, you take into consideration the cultural orientation of the people.
Exactly.
That is number one. Number two, you take into consideration the circumstances within which surrounds the whole situation. He is a political figure. Are we lying to ourselves? IB is here. Is he telling me on countless times that he has not stepped out there and would see young men and women waiting for those of us who are politically exposed? He is not. He is a lecturer. He's not politically exposed that much.
Mr. Ibrahim, so you've been giving dollars to you.
You understand? No, I mean, whether it's dollar or it's Cedi.
No,
is he telling
not
me
to deliver your point.
that he steps out there, he doesn't meet people who ask him for money? So I can open my phone for you right now, and this morning at dawn, 5:30, I got a WhatsApp message requesting for money. Now, should the person come and meet me down here and I give him money, doesn't mean that I am trying to show off.
Right, no.
Let's be real.
Let's manage the time. Let's manage the time.
As another yao.
But he's giving it as Sammy Gyamfi.
No.
All right, gentlemen.
I think
was it a GoldBod?
If anyone wants to say anything on the health?
No, that was what I thought we were going to.
Okay, let me regulate this. Let me start from Mr. Jabab.
A time will come, if you are not careful with this Sammy Gyamfi issue.
I think we are moving to the health sector. That's what she said.
I wanted to just
in our 10 seconds.
A time will come, they will say politicians are being wicked. Politicians have stopped being generous. Of course, as I sit here as a politician, sometimes I get to a place. When I was campaigning, during the last...
10 seconds is nearly...
Exactly. I was compelled to give $1. I was compelled to give dollars. So not because I had dollars, but because at that moment I traveled and came. And I had no money on me. It was an occasion. I just realized that that's what I have to do.
Let's move on. So on the Ghana Health Services Director General saying that we should stop this protocol approach we have to treatment of Ghanaians. Reflections on that quickly, and then we move on.
Thank you. I think that's a very good one. You see, health does not respect status. Health does not respect one's level in society. And sometimes you want to give protocol in our health services, you could be doing danger or very harm to somebody who needs that health service, mostly at that point in time. Why protocol in health? If you are sick, you are sick. You go to the hospital, and depending on the kind of sickness you have, will determine what kind of treatment you'll be given. So at that point in time, assuming you and I go to hospital and we happen to have similar sickness or disease that we should be treated, I think we should be treated according to how we arrive at the hospital, what service we sought for, but there shouldn't be any protocol like, who do you know? You know a doctor there.
Unfortunately, that's not our reality. If you and I go to the hospital, just because you're a man of power, you're a member of parliament, you definitely get preferential treatment over me. So it's not just about citizens and who we know. The preferential treatment, the protocol also applies to our leaders. So if we are saying that everyone should be treated the same, then it also means that you members of parliament, our ministers, our CEOs will have to be treated the same way that an ordinary person like me, Sweetie Abochi, is treated when I go to the hospital. So are you saying that that is real? That's something that can happen? That you and I go to the hospital and then indeed they say, okay, Sweetie, you go first because you arrived first.
Sweetie, what I do know is if you want probably to be treated privately, then you probably choose to go to a private hospital. If I go to Kwalebu, a public hospital like Kwalebu, you come to Kwalebu. If you come to meet me first, I think it is fair that I'm set before you.
Of course.
Yes. So I agree with Director General that protocol in health service delivery should be, something that we should entertain.
All right.
As Ghanaians.
That's good. Thank you. Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes, I think this is an interesting area. And I will add to the call that it is not only protocol that should be eliminated. Corruption too have to be eliminated. I've heard people saying paying bribe for beds in hospitals, which is quite interesting. That side need to be eliminated.
Wow. That one I have.
Somebody like, I'm familiar with health sector. At least I'm also a qualified nurse who has worked as a nurse prescriber
that's news
for a very long time, yes. And that's why sometimes people mistake me for a doctor.
He's lived in the UK.
Wearing a uniform, at least 17 years as a trained nurse. See, when you look at the system, hospitals need to operate something we call triage system. So the triage system is when you arrive at the hospital, then somebody will take preliminary information and investigate. Then determine what level should they escalate your case. So for example, if you arrive at A&E, you can be sent to Majors, you can be sent to where they will just treat you straight away, where you don't have to even wait at all. Or sometimes you can be assigned to a resource, or even sent to a recovery unit. So somebody needs to assess that based on the need basis. But for people to be sent to places based on protocol, you are more or less saying that other Ghanaians who need to wait are more or less of citizens, which is not good for us as a country. This was why when honorables, members of parliament, were calling for a separate hospital for themselves, I kind of realized that, no, this is a misplaced priority. So if you are telling Ghanaians, and when you are campaigning, you say you are going to be servants, for servants to be given a specific hospital for themselves, this is really a problem.
All right.
But all this tells me that the health sector in Ghana is underfunded. I mean, when you go to our premium hospital like Kwalebu, the first time I stepped there, I said to myself, I wouldn't even want to come here. The environment itself doesn't even encourage recovery. You see patients lying down on the floor. It doesn't even encourage recovery at all. So it tells us health sector is seriously underfunded. That is why I will urge the NDC government that agenda 111, don't say somebody started them. Perhaps it's time to invest in complete them. The person who started them used the Republic of Ghana's money. Our health sector is underfunded. The infrastructure is not there. I mean, you know that. Okay. This is why when people go in abroad for treatment, it becomes an issue.
All right.
Perhaps everybody needs to be around, and then for us to push the health sector.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Nana Sapong.
Yes.
Final take on this matter.
Yes, we all would agree that nobody wants to go through protocol for whatsoever reason. But there are some reasons that necessitate or calls for this protocol. And are we able to deal with that? Once we're able to deal with that, naturally it sweeps away the protocol. You understand me? And those are some of the things that Ivy was mentioning. Health infrastructure. What is our health infrastructure like? You understand? When you get to the hospital, there are no beds. And so the few beds that are there, so you have 2 beds for like 100 people. All right, and then myself, IB, and Honorable gets ill. And then we go there. Definitely, Honorable will get the bed. I will not get the bed. If not, IB, because he's a lawyer. Probably he has a client who is a senior health practitioner there. So he would get it. Now, the quality of service. It gets to a point where you would enter into a facility, and because of the nature of the facility, quality of service is assured across board.
Mostly private hospitals.
But there are some facilities you get to, and you look at it and you know that quality of service is discriminatory, depending on who is being served. All right? Even accessibility to healthcare in itself becomes it. And so I would add my voice to what IB said. Indeed, the health minister has mentioned that they are going to look for money and other means to complete this Agenda 111. He's mentioned it countless times. But we have also told him that there are other ways to deal with this whole thing to get money to complete it. We have people who are interested in investing in health, the health sector. We have these health practitioners, we have these traditional medicine practitioners, we have these missions and these Islamic and religious bodies that are all into into the health sector. Let us approach them. Let us give them a deal. Let's give them what is on the table. Let us give them some benefits that comes with their investment.
Okay.
And let's see whether or not they'll be interested in carrying up. I mean, we should be able to solve this. But until we solve this health infrastructure and quality of service issues, protocol would forever exist.
Okay.
The Ghana Health Service should channel its strength into ensuring that it draws into the health sector enough investment to be able to give us the best of health services.
That's the only way we can.
And that is what would remove.
Thank you,
protocol.
gentlemen. So just some headlines, and then we'll move on to Mr. Ibrahim, your paper. Is that the New Republic?
Yes.
Okay, but let me just put this out.
Okay.
Free passports delivery to offices' homes begin, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs last Friday started with a free home and office delivery of newly chip-embedded passports to their owners. So if you're in the process of receiving a passport, you should know that that's an option available to you. Okay, let's go to the New Republic now.
So I can see the first story, 24-hour economy dream on, and ends Akufo-Addo's corrupt gas processing plant deal. Energy sector debt to be cleared by 2026, President Mahama assures. Cocaine trade tumbles. Hey, I didn't know they have a market for it. They tumbles. Cocaine trade tumbles in Sahel amid coup chaos, shock reports unveils. Government strikes deal with traders to slash prices.
Which of these stories do you want to get into? We can do two.
Okay. So the 24 hours economy dream on. I think they are making reference to the fact that gas processing plant. I'm not sure whether. Okay, let me just
read a bit. Yeah.
Okay. President Mahama 24 hours economy policy has disrupted shady deals buried in the crucial gas processing plant 2, GPP2, that elsewhere Akufo-Addo administration was setting up as a private cash cow. The swift action taken by the new administration to kickstart the GPP2 project has already started an urgent market dealings, reported grand plans by the then Akufo-Addo administration to sidelight parliamentary oversight. These dealings have been revealed in explosive documents. I'm not sure how 24-hour economy is connecting to this. I don't know. What sort of...
usually the New Republic has all these controversial stories, and I want to
so
see the documents for myself before I can, get into it. Whatever documents they claim is
it's a tabloid. We call them tabloid newspapers.
Let's move on to another story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you have the other one.
Perhaps we should leave that paper alone.
Yes,
please. The Enquirer.
IB.
So GoldBod arrests 6 Indians.
Yeah, that's a topical one.
Yes.
Let's get into it.
Okay, GoldBod arrests 6 Indians. Where is it? Where did they say we can find it?
I saw the
page
video.
2, 3. It is scattered everywhere.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
So this is page 2. Can you see
you can't find the story, huh?
No, I can't find it.
Okay, so, but we know what the story actually is. Some people were trying to smuggle. One even had a T-shirt of something distraction. Okay. And I said to myself, yeah.
I have it here.
Have you found it?
Yes.
You have it in your paper.
Yes.
All right, it's okay. Let's go. Let's look at the story in
page 2. It's not in page 2. GoldBod.
Yes.
Okay, so the heat is on and eyes are red. No one who dares is saved. These were the clear indication as the Ghana GoldBod and the National Security in an intelligence-led operations arrested 6 Indian nationals for engaging in illegal gold trading in Ghana.
Actually, the visuals are rolling on your screen right now. Those are the people who were. You see the shirt the man is wearing? Master of disaster. I thought it was really funny.
Of course, he's a disaster. He's a disaster.
So we know the story, Mr. Ibrahim. Let's discuss it.
Yes, I mean gold had always been a very tricky thing. It's a precious mineral, and I think almost every country have got rules as to how you can deal with gold. In fact, South Africa is actually. I think that's the only interesting country whereby you can use defense of ignorance when you are exiting the country with gold. And I've had contact with a lot of people in the UK who is requesting if they could come to Ghana to buy gold, meaning that our market is quite liberal. So actually putting control measures in place to curb the dealing in gold is very, very important. And this is why, not being politics, this is why I was talking about the appearance test. It's very, very important. So now we found the need to arrest certain people for dealing with this gold. But what I've read about the story that we are going to deport them. I mean, what kind of law that this is, you can tie it to the people dealing with galamsey, that when we get a foreigner who happen to breach our law, we more or less outsource the disciplinary or whatever we put in place to their country. I mean, how is that a deterrent if you deport the person? Do we have a confiscation orders in place to make sure that whatever ill-gotten thing they had through these deals is taken away from them? And I favor prosecuting them in Ghana, first of all. Prosecuting them here will be much more deterrent than just shipping them away.
They are going to deport 3 and prosecute 3.
Yes.
And it all depends on the time that they were arrested.
Yes.
So that's
why is the timing necessary?
The time that the law came into play and when they were arrested. You cannot, put a law into effect maybe today, and if you've arrested somebody 3 weeks ago, you apply the same law to the person.
Are you saying as a country we didn't have old law that deal with prosecuting them in Ghana? We didn't do the crime in the first place. But then that is very interesting. So if you can only prosecute people based on new law, maybe the time that the offense had occurred, they had already breached some laws.
Mr. Ibrahim, at the end of the day, it's a rule of law, right? And it's a democracy. You cannot say that simply because they are caught in the same crime and there's a new law now, whether or not they were arrested.
No. What I'm saying is that I'm not sure about the old law, but are we saying that there was no old law that entailed prosecuting such people?
Well,
that you just have to send them away. But aside, I've already said, even in the galamsey, there is a proposal that when we get people, we deport them. And I said, what will be the deterrent effect if you simply deport them? So I believe arresting them is in the right direction. But usually, I'm a bit sensitive when they mention people's nationality and I attach them to crime. For some reason, look, I was nearly lynched in Newcastle in South Africa when I was there during the xenophobic attacks. Simply because Ghanaians and Nigerian names are mentioned frequently. And that is a practice in Ghana as well. Maybe we need to have a second look at it. Because emphasizing people's nationality is a very serious thing. So perhaps 6 people are arrested. Maybe you go inside the story, then you probably find out their nationality because we want to deport them. It can be mentioned. But if you put it in the headline, Indians are arrested, Nigerians are arrested, one day we might be inciting xenophobic attack on people.
Thank you for that. You're saying we should be circumspect
I think so.
when it comes to nationality.
But some people see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I think it's a good call. I think mostly here at Multimedia, or should I say on the MyJoyOnline.com, we stick to foreigners.
Yes.
You know, you go into the story before you find out which nationality they belong to. So it's a good call. Mr. Jabab.
Thank you. I think, like lawyer said, it's a good point over there. The people were arrested. What was their crime or their offense? They were dealing in gold. And as of which time, the Gold Act had come into being. We know that we now have GoldBod. And by that, as a foreigner, you can't just walk into our country, Ghana, and begin to buy gold or minerals anyhow. The GoldBod has outlined the ways by which somebody interested doing business with Ghana can come in. You can buy gold, but then you have to buy as an off-taker, or you can come through GoldBod and then appropriately buy your gold, and you are free. Per that act, you can no more, as a foreigner, walk into our areas. You know what? These are all bases for the rampant galamsey or illegal mining activities. We are now finding it difficult to combat.
Right.
When they arrested them, they had over 1.4 million Ghana cedis on themselves. They had some euros, they had some Indian rupee, and all this was money which no one knows how they came by it. And they were moving with this money in the bush. So this will attract young men to do galamsey with more energy because there is money to buy.
Look at it. There it is. That's the money.
Good.
Those are CDs.
Good.
That we can see, as far as my eye can see.
Good.
Please, go on.
So that man with that money in his bag.
But is there a problem that they were having money?
Well, there is no problem they were having money.
Evil intention.
What I'm saying
is Sammy Gyamfi's story. He seems to be a problem that they're having euros.
Let's hear him out, please. Yeah.
Let me land with my point. You see, this young man in the bush, seeing you carrying this amount of money, in fact, is going to be gingered enough to actively go into galamsey. In fact, he will not care destroying the forest. He will not care destroying our water bodies. That foreign national or that man who is not a Ghanaian, he has no business doing with your economy, your forest, whether you die. The interest he has is his business. And he buys the gold, repatriates everything, including his profits, and we don't earn anything. Interestingly, sweetie, you know, before coming into being of GoldBod, Ghana used to lose about $2 billion annually due to smuggling in the gold sector. So if we were losing this money, and now we can now regulate the sale, the trade in the gold, then we need to say kudos to President Mahama and then the NDC government. And we believe that this is just the beginning. Because if we are able to do this, if we are able to go by the old act, if we are able to put our laws properly into force, then we may rake in revenue more than these $2 billion annually.
All right.
This is a good one.
Thank you so much.
And I think, as lawyer said, the people must be dealt with according to the laws here.
Well, now we have the new GoldBod Act, so henceforth, when you're caught, you'll be prosecuted right here. Yes. And I have the final word on this matter.
Yes, I have been against the deportation of foreigners who commit crimes in our country. I remember the days of Aisha one when she was...
And she came right back.
She came right back. I mean, if I would commit a crime in a foreign land and be carried back into my country, why would I be scared? You understand me? I think, and I've stated, that these people, once they have been committed in destroying our lands, we should use them to work. Let's prosecute them here. If they are found guilty, we jail them with hard labor. We put them to the place where they destroyed. Then they help us to fix it. You understand? We don't just carry them out. I have been against it, from onset. But of course, I stated many weeks back and months back, even before the elections, that if we want to have a solution, aside the 10 pointers that the Movement for Change had presented in dealing with the issues of Galamsey, then we should have a government that will put in a deliberate effort to control the gold market. All right? And that is what GoldBod seeks to do. It's going to make Galamsey unattractive. Why? Because you cannot just sell the gold on the open market. All right? You need some level, some documentations to be able to sell. They need to make some traces to which consignment and to which organization that did the mining. And that is going to actually reduce. The only thing that is left with is the issue we are facing with as the 6 people have been arrested, which has to do with the smuggling. Of course, once you have created that unattractive avenue, all right, or venture, you've made the venture unattractive, you should also be ready that people will smuggle it out.
That's true.
And so the forces should come together. The Immigration Service, because they control our borders, the national security, the police. There should be that team that is formed to be able to deal strictly with issues of commodity smuggling. Okay. Not only limiting it to gold, but all right, let's extend it to the cocoa we have, then to other natural resources. Because once the venture becomes unattractive internally, all right, they would want to use the external ways to
well
get
said and
done.
Points well noted. And unfortunately, gentlemen, we have to go. I know we didn't really start early, but our time has run out. And I want to know the stories on the front page of your newspaper, Mr. Jabab. That's the overseer, just the headlines. And then
headlines, we have apology, accepted, but go and see no more. Presidency to Sammy Gyamfi. Then we have a mid-year budget review to strengthen confidence, tackle debt obligations. That's Deputy Minister of Finance.
Yes.
Honorable Ampem Daku. And then we have Ghana pays twice for the same job, while the SMA deal must end. Benjamin Sia. Then we have government to deport. I think that's what we just discussed. Okay. 3 foreigners.
All right, thank you. BNFT.
So we have
headlines.
DOG's DPI project to shape Africa's future payments blueprint, and that is a very good one. That has to do with the digital platforms payment, yes. And then we have FAGE President calls for targeted policy to support export. We have COPEC flags mammoth losses in upstream sector. And there was one that you did that has to do with COPEC also, calling for the reduction in
fuel prices?
No, transport fares.
Okay, great.
And I think it's a very good call. I mean, if fuel prices are dropping, and they've been dropping since the beginning of the year, cumulatively is about 18%, yes. All right? Then I think that the transport operators should be kind enough to Ghanaians. To Ghanaians. To reduce transport. At least they should be kind enough to Ghanaians. And then SSC Central Bank targets lower remittance cost. And then back page says, Delimosh creates job, empower women. And Galaxy, oh no, there's a... It's
okay, yeah. So those are the stories on the front pages. Pick one for yourself and get into it. Unfortunately, we don't have time. I'll end with the Daily Democrats. Abuakwa South MP to host Africa's top film school. NPA to sanction non-compliant oil companies, according to Kujeta Maklo Eduji. And Alex Dade wins 2025 Excellence Leadership Award. Police arrest 208 in anti-Galamsey crackdown. The more arrests I hear of, the happier I get. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
There is one that I have to do because I'm an Ashanti man.
Go ahead.
It says that Republic Bank honored for Ashanti region's economic development.
Here. Those who join us for the conversation, Member of Parliament for Krachi East, Honorable Nelson Jabab. And then we have Nanaya Sapong from the Movements for Change, and Ishaq Ibrahim is a lecturer and member of the NPP Communications Directorate. Thank you all, gentlemen, for joining us this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Coming up next, Haruna Mubarak serves you AM Sports. Please stay.
Let's do sports now on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. So our first story, and in a game where dreams are chased with every kick, one young star is turning heads and breaking boundaries. At a tender age, the kid with a legendary name is lighting up the pitch with raw talent, fearless ambition, and a passion that can't be coached. Well, my colleague Daniel Cranton has more in this special report.
A few months ago, this poster made waves on social media. The obituary was a striking sight, with 4 names standing out to viewers, not for their sorrowful connotation, but each one instantly recognizable, evoking a powerful sense of legacy, achievement, and reverence. In the quiet moments between birth and the first words, there's a powerful force that shapes a child's sense of self: their name. A name, seemingly just a label given by parents or guardians, carries with it layers of meaning, history, and expectation. It is the first gift a child receives from the world, and for better or worse, it can become a guiding thread throughout their life. As children grow, their names can shape the way they are perceived by others, or how they view themselves, and how they navigate the complexities of identity and belonging. With this knowledge, Abdul Rahman Amatefio had a vision for his children, and that vision influenced the names he chose.
First of all, I'm a Barca fan, and I'm a special fan, a very serious fan of Messi and Iniesta. I knew definitely my kids will end up playing football. So it's something I'd hoped for. Myself, I was a footballer, but I couldn't reach the highest level. So that has been my dream. So when I gave birth to the firstborn, and he was a boy, I knew he would play. And Messi is my player, so I just named him after Messi. And then when it comes to Iniesta, although I love Messi, I would say my love for Iniesta is really probably bigger than that of Messi. And so I didn't have any other option but to name my second one after Iniesta. If you look at my third one, that is Angel Di Maria, you realize he never played Barcelona. But I just loved that gentleman, his style of play. I see him to be a very good gentleman, a nice man, handsome man. And in fact, I fell in love with him, not because, and as at the time I even named my son Di Maria. Di Maria was playing for Madrid. For my last born, Serena Williams, I just love Serena Williams.
However, such a bold decision certainly was not made without some opposition.
She wanted Christian names, so I needed to justify those names I was choosing, and it wasn't easy, but then, like I said, I was able to justify that of Messi and Iniesta. That of Di Maria, there was a little, because Di Maria, I couldn't really get the real meaning, but then I only got to know it as a masculine form for Angel Mary. Yeah.
Be it a stroke of luck or by divine orchestration, little by little, one of his 4 children, Andres Iniesta Amatefio, is beginning to emulate his namesake, the Barcelona great. For residents of Mamprobi, Iniesta's exploits are well known. But at the inaugural small post under-13 tournament, the audience was wild. From the moment Iniesta touched the ball, the young boy captured the crowd's attention with a dazzling display of control, vision, and instinct that seemed too far refined for his age.
Even before we found out his name, we went to watch him and his team in Kolebono. They were playing a friendly match in the community over there. And we saw this number 8, and anytime he touched the ball, the whole community, everybody's Iniesta. So initially I was wondering if it's his nickname. But when the boy touches when his magical left foot, set pieces, his passing, everything, he was like the playmaker of his team. Very little boy, but the things he does, magical. So at the end of the game, I went to his coach and I was like, wow, who's this? And he said Iniesta, and then they introduced me to his dad as well, and I was like, Iniesta, what's his real name? I said Iniesta. Andres Iniesta Amatefio. I said, wow, that's his name. So from there, we just fell in love with him because we all know who Iniesta is and the ability that he has, and he also wearing the same number 8. It was great to see a talent like this in this country. For what he does with the ball at his age, it was magical.
This outcome has, however, not surprised Abdul Rahman, who believes his mindset towards his children's upbringing is what has created this phenomenon.
If you view sports as a game, you wouldn't attach much importance to it. But for me, I see it as a profession. That is why we have professional footballers, professional athletes. If your child has a skill in the field of sports, I would admonish every parent to put much effort in, just as you treat formal education. If you begin to have that same view for sports, there you will have a meaning to push your kids in that way. And by so doing, we respect the field. We put in every effort. Just like I'll buy books for my kids in school, I will see the need to buy sports equipment for my kids.
For Abdul Rahman, the right guidance is incredibly essential for his son at this point. Talented footballers, especially at a young age, are like uncut diamonds, full of potential but in need of careful shaping. Coaches, mentors, and a supportive environment plays a crucial role in helping young footballers develop not only their technical skills but also their mental resilience and character. And this, for parents like Abdul Rahman, is where Small Poles, an organization with the sole aim of bridging the gap between education and sports, comes in.
This is what Small Poles is trying to do, give these kids a spotlight to show what they have and what they can do, and that's basically what we are trying to do, to make sure that we have more talents shining out of our schools, giving them the platform to play in competitive environments where their family, their friends are all there watching them, their cameras also watching them, and for them to show their ability in these conditions. You can't take anything away from them, because if you go to Europe, what they have over us is the character and the confidence that they have because of the kind of exposure that they have. This is the kind of exposure we are trying to give our kids and our students athletes in Ghana. But I've realized that a lot of parents are open to their kids entering sports. So we before we had the tournament, we engaged the parents, we engaged the teams first, and then the teams sent the messages to the parents, and the parents were willing to meet us, Small Poles, our team. And when we spoke to them about the project and what we want to do, they were very down because they saw where we are trying to go. We are trying to create a career path for their kids in football. But then if there's no football as well, there's also education. That's why we are trying to go to these academies and then the schools.
This Small Pole concept, when I discussed with the leadership, I noticed will actually help to take some of these kids who are on the streets but are talented. Majority of them are into sports, into football. Majority of them. Majority. But because the other teams, that the main teams that we have, or let me say, the coast team is these coast team tournaments are not really active like before. Secondly, these academies that have come into the system mostly target kids who could afford them one. Others also target kids who have backings from their parents, like some of us are doing, but then not majority of them are able to think of kids who have the kids but they have the skills, but some way, somehow they've been neglected. Let me put it that way. So they find themselves on the streets. But if you look at this concept by these Small Poles people, they go to those areas that most of these teams refuse to go to.
Iniesta's talent is evident for all to see. From the local pitches to hopefully rising whispers among scouts, young Andres Iniesta is quickly making a name for himself. With exceptional vision, composure beyond his years, and a relentless work ethic, he's not just wearing a famous name, he's living up to it. As he continues to develop under the watchful eye of coaches and fans alike, the boy dreams not only of reaching the professional stage, but of one day standing shoulder to shoulder with the legacy he was named after. For now, he remains grounded, focused, and full of promise. A young talent with big shoes to fill and every intention of doing just that.
To women's football, it's been a season of highs and heartbreaks, but it all comes down to this weekend at the University of Ghana Stadium, where Jonina Ladies take on Faith Ladies in the Women's FA Cup final. Now, Joy Sports' Lawrence Beidou caught up with the teams as they prepare for their biggest match yet.
Under the soft glare of the training ground, Jonina ladies move like a team with one goal in mind, lifting the Women's FA Cup. Every pass, every sprint, every shout from the sideline echoes a belief that this is their year. For a club that has steadily risen through the ranks, this final isn't just a match. It's a culmination of years of resilience, belief, and hard work.
It's a good opportunity for a team like Jonina, who has never been in the final before, for us to reach final in this year. So it's a good one over there. At least for Jonina and Antioquia community to get a FA Cup title will be a huge blow. Like it will be like amazing for Antioquia community to get a title at the FA.
Confidence runs deep within the squad, and it's not just coming from the sidelines.
It doesn't matter that they are going for relegation, so we will take them as the lower side so we can score them easy. It's not that easy. But with determination and focus, we were able to win. The fans should expect more goals from me because the final match, I'm going to score.
We prepare well for the last match. That is Sunday, 18th. We prepare well. And all of us, we are going all out. So I know we can do it. We can do it. It's possible. I want them to come out and support us because we had a nice season and we want to take the trophy.
But waiting for them at the final whistle is a team with something just as powerful: redemption. Faith Ladies. Their fate as a top-flight team decided at the end of the Women's Premier League campaign. The heartbreak of relegation was palpable. However, their path to the final has been nothing short of defiant. With Faith, they had a run that surprised many, and despite the odds stacked against them, they arrived with fire in their boots and nothing to lose.
Taking this opportunity to invite Ghanaians to come to the Legon, that is Legon Sports Stadium, where we are playing the finals of the FA Cup against Jonina. It is going to be an exciting game, so I wish everybody will be there to come and watch a very beautiful football. And at the end of the day, Faith Ladies, we are sure of the victory. Victory is ours.
No pressure, no fear. Just one last shot at rewriting the narrative of their season. Two teams, two stories. One looking to crown a season of growth, the other fighting to salvage pride in a year of adversity. The Women's FA Cup final promises more than silverware. It promises legacy. From Jonina's unbreakable bond to Faith's fearless last stand. This is football at its finest.
It's been a season to forget for Faith Ladies, but for Jonina Ladies, it's one that they'll be proud of, because aside finishing third in the Women's Premier League, in their second season, it's the Women's FA Cup as well for them. Good things come to those who wait. Faith Ladies are relegated, but they have a pride to fight for. Jonina Ladies are hoping to make a community proud. In the end, 90 minutes or more could decide this fixture. Lawrence Baidu for Joy Sports.
24. And that's how we end the sports segment on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak.
Welcome back to the AM show, sponsored by Waylead Properties, and we provide quality housing at affordable costs with flexible payment options. Now let's talk about the 2024 Junior Spelling Bee. I have in studio with me the winners, two wonderful young people. Yao Osai Donko is from Unique Educational Complex Basic 5, and Tiffany Enam Dumavi is from Promise Child Academy, and she's also in grade 6. And the director of National Junior Spelling Bee himself is here, Victor Osei-Nkansa, and they all join us in studio for a conversation. Victor, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Yao. Good morning, Tiffany. Good morning. How are we feeling? Your winners. How do winners feel the morning after or when they go on an interview to shine light on them? How are you feeling, Tiffany? Let me start with you.
Exciting.
Exciting, yeah? I like that. What's exciting about being a winner? Considering that you told me before we came on air that you competed in the group from from grade 5 to grade 9, and you are in grade 6, yet you came up top. How exciting is it?
Very exciting.
Tell me more.
Considering competing with students above your level and you coming like pronounce the overall best.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, amazing. I like that. And yeah, you also came up top from your group. How does it feel?
I feel excited.
Excited? Tell me something more than excited.
Because it was unbelievable. Because I thought when I lost my word, I thought I've lost my chance to win.
Let's let the audience understand exactly what we are talking about. I know you said that you couldn't spell correctly your final word, which took you into a tie with some other people, and then you had to go into a speed round, and you spelled how many words correctly out of the total?
23.
23 words correctly out of
26.
26, and that's how you emerged winner. Well, congratulations to both of you. Let me engage Victor, and I'll come back to you, gentlemen, lady and gentleman. Victor, congratulations on concluding the 2024 Junior Spelling Bee.
Thank you.
How was the journey?
It was really tough, really tough, especially getting thousands of young people who are so interested in spelling and eager to win. It makes it really tough. And in the case of Dumevi, she had a sibling who was a JHS student. Yes. So her sister was part of the contest and a finalist as well. So for her to emerge the winner is really incredible.
Yeah.
Means she's done a great job. And then Yao was a finalist in the 2023 contest. And then he came back again to compete.
And this time he won.
And this time he won. So there is something special about each of the winners we have here. And we can't downplay the fact that they work so hard. For you to win the contest, you work so, because you should know at least about 10,000 words to be able to win the junior speller. It is not.
That makes me curious, and I want to find out from them how they prepared for it. Because what you're saying right now, it's like competing against 3 or 4 schools combined from basic 1 to 9 combined. More than that, I assume.
Yeah.
How was it for you, Tiffany, in terms of preparation? What did you do to prepare yourself to become the winner that you are today?
Well, it wasn't easy. My colleagues and I had to meet up with our coach during our snack breaks, lunch breaks, sometimes on weekends.
Wow.
And during vacations or midterms, we still met with our coach on WhatsApp to practice more.
Means you were sacrificing your lunch breaks, your weekends, just so that you can spell so many words correctly. Yes. Thank you for that. That's very inspiring. Osaya, what about you? What did you do to prepare for the competition?
Prior to the 2023 finals, our coach prepared us very well. So it was our intention to win. But it was unfortunate that we made the second.
So you came back stronger. Yes. So you had prior experience from 2023. Would you say that it helped you in any way? The experience you gathered from 2023?
Yes, because some of the words in our book, some of them still appeared.
Yeah, I like that. So was there any word, Tiffany, that you met that stuck with you? Maybe it was so challenging that you remember it vividly. I mean, you told me that you watched Akila and the Spelling Bee, right? There's a particular word that everyone who watched that film will remember. So what was that word for you? There was a word that maybe there's a story around it, I don't know. Is there a particular word that challenged you, took you a minute to put your thoughts together, but you still got it right?
Yes.
What word was that?
My final word. My
Which
new
is?
word. Osteomalacia.
Osteomalacia. What does it mean?
It's related to the softening of the bone marrow in the human body.
Girl, you smart. So spell that word for us. Osteomalacia.
Osteomalacial. Osteomalacia.
That's the winner right there. I'll say, yeah. What about you? Any word that was really challenging for you that took you aback a bit, but eventually you were able to overcome?
Oh, it was not my word.
Okay. But there was a word.
Yeah. Gymnasia key.
Gymnasia key. Wow. I've not encountered that word yet. What does it mean? You don't remember? Spell it for us. Gymnasia key.
Gymnasia key is spelled GYMNASIARCHY.
Well, congratulations, Yao and Tiffany. Victor, so I understand you are actually on course with the 2025 edition, which will be the 7th edition of the Junior Spelling Bee. How is that going?
Yes, it is going very well. We can see that the spellers are really interested. We have a lot of spellers coming back from 2020. Those who competed in 2024 contest, they want to come back, like Moseyao and win. And we have a lot of them. In fact, we have 2021 winner for grade 1 to grade 4 coming back into to join the seniors.
Okay.
Yes, once you win, you can't join, but if you win in the juniors, you can still compete in the seniors. So she wants to win the senior category as well. So this is making this year contest really challenging, and we have thousands of children enrolling. We are in Accra, and we've already auditioned more than 1,000 children.
Is this fun for you?
Sure, it is exciting because the fact that we see children eager to learn, eager to sacrifice a lot in order to develop themselves. This is really something that brings a lot of joy to me.
Thank you for all the good work that you're doing. Tiffany, so who's been your biggest supporter? Who's been that one person that is constantly cheering you on in the background, clapping for you and saying, yes, you can do it, even when you have to sacrifice your lunch break and weekends just so you can win? Who's that?
Honestly, I give thanks to God for this wonderful opportunity to have been crowned champion.
Oh.
I also want to appreciate my family, friends, my amazing director and directress, my teachers, and also my best friend's mom, Mrs. Issa. She always motivated me from the beginning when we started the audition to the finals.
Looks like it took a whole village to support you, and I'm happy for you. Keep it up, yeah? Yeah, what about you? Anyone you want to say special thank you to? Someone who helped you become the winner you are today?
First, I would like to thank God Almighty for this victory. And I would like to thank my parents, especially my mother, for her motivation, her love, and her support. And I would also like to thank my proprietress and director, Mr. and Mrs. Ajumaibia.
Okay.
And my headmaster, Mr. Charles Apiakubi, and the entire teachers.
Charles Apiakubi sounds like a familiar name. I don't know where I know the person. Go ahead.
And the entire teachers for their love, their support and prayer during the competition.
Congratulations to the both of you. Before I let you go, I want you to teach us a trick. There are many young people watching you right now who may be interested in spelling, but they're probably scared. They probably think that they are not as great as you. You know, what would you tell someone like that? If there's one trick that you can teach that person, Tiffany.
Okay, so I insist that all young spellers who want to compete in this competition should watch the Akila and the Bee movie, because there are a lot of tricks and tips in that movie that could help them.
I like that. Yeah, I'll say, what about you? Teach us one trick or give us one tidbit.
I will encourage them that any word they encounter, that they will try to spell, they should focus on the word before they utter letters out. And while they are spelling, they should listen to themselves and ask for the pronouncer to pronounce the word again before they maybe attempt.
I asked for one tidbit. You've given us 3. I like that. Victor, I'll come to you in a second. I do want to find out from you. What do you aspire to become when you grow up, Tiffany?
I'd love to be a medical doctor in the future.
Okay. Why? Why medical doctor? You love opening things up and fixing it, and fixing things. Why? What's it about the medical profession that excites you?
I would want to discover more diseases and figure out how to treat them.
I like that. You're a very smart woman and you don't fumble with your words. You know exactly what you want. Keep it up. It will take you places. Yeah. What do you aspire to become when you grow up?
Medical doctor.
Also a medical doctor. Okay, please watch out for these medical doctors. They're probably the ones who are going to discover the cure for cancer. Victor, any final words, any message that you want to leave our audience with before we wrap it up?
Yes, so my final words will be to first of all, thank their coaches. I know the kind of work they've done for them to emerge. Yes, with the junior speller, you can have smart kids, but if you don't have a good coach, those motivating you, you will give up because it's really challenging and tough. You have to sacrifice so much. So I will look forward that other coaches will also learn from that and make sure they make time for them. Then to all children and spellers, sometimes what I hear is this: most of them are so scared.
Yeah.
They are so scared to join because they feel these ones are special. I want to tell them that they also can do same. They just have to give themselves time and then practice more, and they will be able to achieve as they have that. So I wish all of them all the best.
Thank you so much. And so congratulations to Yao Osei Donko from Unique Educational Complex. He's in Basic 5. And of course to Tiffany Enam Dumevi from Promise Child Academy, and she's in Basic 6. And they are going to be the ones to discover the cure for cancer and all kinds of diseases that we do not yet have a cure for. Of course, the Director of National Junior Spelling Bee, Victor Osei Cancer, was also here with us. Thank you all so much, and I wish you the very best. All right, so that ends this belt of conversation. But before I go, if you're looking for a prime home or a home in a prime location, then I've got news for you. Nesta's Home has got you covered. Our properties in Tema Community 26, just behind the Palace Mall, offer a serene atmosphere, easy access to transportation routes and social amenities. And the off-plan price starts from $35,000 US. You can contact us today for more information. Here are the numbers to call: 053-101-4440 or 053-101-4447. You can also visit our website at www.nestas.com.gh. Thank you. I'll be right back with more on the AM Show. Welcome back to the AM Show, sponsored by Waylead Properties. We provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with flexible payment option. In the studio with me is a superstar. Naomi Oyo Ohene Oti is an oncology nurse specialist at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. And I should add that she's one of the people who've been selected as finalists for the $250,000 Asta Guardians Global Nursing Award. Naomi, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
You're very beautiful. I love the color you have on.
Thank you.
How does it feel? This is no small feat. Plus $25,000.
It's quite overwhelming,
yeah.
Honestly, and humbling with some deep, very deep and emotional feeling. I first thank God for such an honor. It's not just an honor to me. It's also for all nurses across Ghana, Africa, and beyond.
Yeah.
It's a win for all nursing and for nurses to be appreciated at that level. Being on that global platform is just not mere thing. Initially, we thought it was just a normal, but as time went on, it really dawned on me that this is Naomi to the world.
Yes.
And not just Naomi to the world, nursing to the world, nursing and midwifery to the world. So it's quite humbling.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will say that I carry the nurses, all the successes that they have chalked, their challenges, and their triumph. Seeing their resilience and their dedication to their work. I carry it all to show to the world.
Thank you for representing us well. So we want to get to know you, get up close, find out who you are and what really inspired you to enter this noble profession. So let's start with a bit of background. Okay. As brief as possible, but what we want to focus on is how you entered the profession and how it's taken off since then.
Right. So as said, now I'm Yoyo Hineti. I'm the head of nursing for the Cancer Center in Oncology Teaching Hospital. I've been practicing for over 2 decades now. In the field of oncology, precisely.
Yeah.
And over the years...
Why oncology? Why did you enter that? Why did you specialize in oncology?
Okay, so during training, I think in my last year of training, I met this woman with breast cancer, very energetic. And she was in pain in the surgical ward. So I then inquired from the physicians, can anything be done? Because she wasn't someone who was frail, just that she was in pain. And he said, oh, we've given everything that we have. We've done surgery. We're giving some chemotherapy, and that's it. So does it mean that we are just leaving her and just giving her just pain medicine, that's it? There were no options. So, and over the years during my training, I usually, even during when we are asked to care for patient, choose a patient, I usually go for the weird ones. I mean, things that people will not go for. So I thought that was a turning point, that what can I do within my space? Because nursing, we usually will hold people, give hope to people. And so I then applied to the Cancer Center after school. And lo and behold, I was taken on. To the glory of God, I had a mentor. That's one of the first oncology nurses. There were only 2 in the country by then. So she was, so I really wanted to be like her. And within the space, looking at my background, I'm also keen in academics, really want to know more knowledge and things. So I said, okay, but I didn't want to move to academia. I still want to be in my space, have the feel with patient and still be able to impact. So I said that why can't, even within nursing, then there should be a space for us to be able to still give care to our patient and at the same time also impacting knowledge in the classroom. And it wasn't easy. We started, and I had the opportunity to travel to the US to be trained in clinical trials and breast care. And over the years, I saw there was not really no specialty. Maybe within our space, we thought it was very difficult to do any specialty within oncology because people have to travel to South Africa. Maybe you have to be nominated. But going to the US changed everything. I thought that the oncology nurses were giving specialized care to the patient, not what we do, but it went beyond that. And I spent about 3 months there, and you could see the transformation in their life. So that got me thinking, no, I shouldn't remain as just an ordinary nurse or a general nurse. I should go further so that my patient will benefit more. And there was no training, and we were able to, I think, my first conference that I had, kudos and shout out to Pamela Haylock. She was then the president of Oncology Nurses Society and had come to Ghana. And I met her, we were just chatting. So you know what, Naomi, I will push you to go for this conference, and that's going to change your perception about cancer nursing. So when I went, it was in Australia in 2004. I went in. That one too was a competition to get in there, to be able to get scholarship. And I applied, and I went through the rigor, and I was chosen. And I saw that there was this distant education course that some of the people from Canada, because the whole World Cancer Conference for Nursing were propagating. So I took a flyer and looked at it. Okay, we don't have to move out of our country. We can still stay in. All we need is get a proctor to be able to help us to learn. I brought it home. Initially, my management were a bit skeptical. How can you do such a training at a long distance? So I said, you are there, because at that time our director was an oncologist. So you were there. We had 2 oncologists around. You are there, and the other, they're all professors now. Shout out to Professor Yanni and Professor Vanderpoy. They've really been supportive. So we ironed it out, and they were supposed to guide us, especially in areas where we need clarification in terms of treatment. And there was, in terms of practicum, it was also ironed out. We had to do it within our space. 2 of us entered into the program initially to be like several, train the trainer. And we were, after the first one, still they were a bit skeptical in pushing forward. So I lobbied one oncologist, and we pushed management to, in partnership with the Cross Cancer Institute, Alberta, Canada, we instituted this online program. So it was until Ghana had its own oncology nursing training program.
You're a very good storyteller, and everything you're saying makes sense to me. So I'm just listening to you go on and telling us your story as it is. But I'm curious to know, would you say that your education abroad and all these international conferences did something to you or did something for your career that earned you the spot? If not, what contributions did you make as an individual that earned you this space in that competition now that you're a finalist?
Right, thank you. I think it did, because people would say travel and see what is happening. You know, oncology or cancer care, it's a bit new within our space. Not too new, but it's still evolving within Ghana and Africa, and having to travel to see what is happening. And then my belief that irrespective of where you are, you should get the best. Irrespective of even our limited resources, we should be able to get the best. So having traveled to see what is happening elsewhere and getting mentors along the way really helped me. In 2017, I became the vice president for one of the biggest cancer organization in Africa for all health workers, or will I say cancer workforce. And I was there as the voice for nursing. So I, taking on from my predecessor, I said, no, we shouldn't be silent. We need to let them see the presence of nursing, because nursing is the heartbeat of every health institution. If nursing don't get it right, then the health system is in trouble. So I had to lead, because looking for that position, we had a lot of professors and things who were vibing. And there's this, I would say, young person coming in. I'm young, though. I went to the university very early. So
was that ever a problem? Were you ever faced with special circumstances or situations where you thought you were being discriminated against because of your age? Or because of the age advantage, it actually brought you mentors who wanted to pull you up? What was your situation?
Okay, my situation was a plus. Being young and vibrant, and I had immediately, we had the older ones ready to rally with you. Okay. And sometimes it's amazing when I stand to talk and they all are listening to me. I mean, these are very professors in renowned universities like Witwatersrand, you know, one of the leading universities in Africa. We're having from Ibadan and some from University of San Francisco. They're all professors listening to you, giving direction. That was a plus for me. But The other thing was when the project, what I really wanted to do, in talking to them, they were all from varied space. I mean, within the context of Africa, we're having from the North Africa, almost West Africa, East Africa, Central Africa. And in taking the various data available, we thought it was our patients as Africans need the best. So in terms of standardization, even nurses in Ghana and nurses in the Western world, they all should stand tall in terms of the various skills that they exhibit. So then why don't we do something which will harmonize our training? Because we mapped out the various training in Africa, and we saw that there was a very big gap, because people just come in, just do a short course, and they are done. Yeah. And no one does any evaluation to see the impact of that course. Even the long-distance education that we did, it was a whole year where we had proctors all the time examining you. And I could say that our center saw a turnaround in terms of the care that we were giving to the patient. We have nurses who were able to manage the side effects of patients. I mean, they intervene without sometimes the oncologist coming in. And that was a plus for us. So we didn't have just short courses and they are done. Yeah. And so we thought it was that why don't we can't develop a curriculum for people, we cannot. But why don't we develop something like a standard where they can use it to develop their own curriculum, looking at the context that they have in. So we started, and there was a resistance. That's irrespective that I had the advantage. Because we've done this before. We had something in our system. I don't think
go off script a bit and talk to me about your mindset during that period when you encountered the resistance. Because everything you've said so far, I don't hear you say at any point that you felt you weren't up to par. I think you have a very strong self-awareness and confidence which comes to play. Right. So talk to me about your mindset during that period of resistance and how you managed to push through regardless of what the naysayers were saying. Okay, thank you. I think one point in time, I'm someone who does a lot of observation in terms of what someone have and what, in terms of what people are bringing on board. So over the years, I saw that in comparing in terms of maybe I did a lot of observation. I had the opportunity of going out, in and out. And I saw that, no, in terms of what even my exposure was even far above those I met, even in the Western world. So that was, that was an advantage, and that was engineering. So when I meet you, I know like that confidence, that self-aware that I'm capable. Yeah. So even if we come to space, we have people in the Western world thinking they've worked in our space. Africa is not there. I say we are there. We will be able to do it. You get me? So, but this encounter was more of, I've said people have worked in that space already. So it's like we have done it before, and it didn't really, we even have something that we've done. But I thought it was that, not that sometimes, I don't know, in our meetings, you could see that they are winning. And I just no, we are going this way. No. Naomi, we have to go. I can listen to you all day. We have to go. So, hopefully we can connect and I can hear more of your stories. So because of that and all those successes and having that international platforms, we were able to come out with some guidelines for cancer centers to be able to emulate. So the nurses' input were there. Even in their treatment guidelines, we push forth work with other people like the AOTIC, the International Society of Nurses in Cancer Care, the CCAN, the City Cancer Challenge, maybe if you have heard about. We push the one for Kumasi. We made sure that nursing inputs were there. I was the external expert. So over the years, looking at my leadership role, and even in education, I was one of the experts who developed the Ghana College of Nurses Midwives Oncology Nursing Program. And then I jumped into it and became the first cohort. I mean, we're just the first in Ghana. If you win this award, right, what would it mean to you first? And how would you use or leverage it to make the Ghana situation better in whatever context that you find yourself? Right, thank you. So winning this is a win, as I said, is a win for Ghana, is a win for West Africa, is a win for Africa, and it's a win for nursing, precisely cancer nursing. We will go on with the competencies we've been able to draw it. We have the first review. We need to do the implementation. So some of this prize money will go into that. And we also want to
looking at the big gap in leadership. We are not seeing our nurses taking up a lot of leadership roles and also making input into policies. So we want to create an academy, leadership academy for nursing, not just nursing, cancer nursing. We also want to create scholarship, a fund for education for nurses within Ghana. Sometimes when leadership roles come up, in terms of qualification, we don't really have a lot of nurses being at that. So we want to increase their leverage in that.
Naomi, right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I really wish that you win. I'll be cheering you on.
Thank you very much.
We don't have so much
to all to vote for. There are links we'll share with.
Oh, okay.
Yes, to all to vote for Naomi Oyohino. Even if you go to Asa Guardian Global Award, just award, you see the 2025 award, and there's a link for you to vote. So vote for Naomi Oyohino. The Ghana flag is just there. You only need an email to do that, to vote. And then, there is. Yes.
I'll tell you what, for the rest of the day and this week, every day I remind our audience to go on and vote for you.
It is ending on 19th.
Okay,
that's
so
Monday by 6:30 is off. So vote for Naomi and let's bring the trophy home and $250,000.
Please, when I campaign for you, I'm getting a percentage, right? So that is oncology nurse specialist and the head of nursing for the National Radiotherapy, Oncology and Nuclear Medicine Center at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Naomi is my guest in studio. She's Naomi Oyo Ohene Oti. Thank you so much for coming.
Right, and thanks to all my admirers, my church, my parents. I wish my dad was around.
Oh.
He's always the one who jeers me. Yeah. Any chalk, in terms of my education, he will be the first to go. And he passed about 2 years ago.
He's proud of you from wherever he is.
And my mom, my siblings, in-laws, my husband, he's here with me.
Oh, okay.
And then my children, my work colleague, the nursing and midwifery fraternity said, thank you for voting. We are still on, it's not ending yet. 19th is ending, so let's push. All the nursing students, my mentees, my mentors.
Okay, Naomi, we have to go. Thank you so much. And we'll be back shortly with more conversations right here on the AM show. But please, to the best, vote for Naomi Oyo Ohene Oti, and she'll make Ghana proud. Stick and stay. We'll be right back.
Welcome back on the AM show. Don't you forget, the AM show is proudly sponsored by Waylead Properties, and they provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. Now, we're going to be talking about, as you can see behind us, the Chief Justice suspended, and all the matters arising now that committee, which has been put together, will commence its sittings. Joining the conversation is Member of Parliament for Manchia South, also a lawyer, Nana Ej Bafo Ewa. A very good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I am very well. It's been a while. I hope you're keeping well too.
By the grace of God, we are good. And I can tell you're also keeping well.
We are here. We're alive. As we'll say, Techramada Bajim. So we thank God for life and strength. It's good to have you join the conversation. So far, with everything you've seen in respect of the CJ as suspended, and now with these processes kicking in, what are your initial thoughts before we even get into what your expectations are of the committee's work?
Thank you very much for another opportunity, my brother. If you look at so far our involvement in the process, we started by raising caution in terms of our approach. And then subsequently, we got to the stage of the suspension and we made known what we thought of it. The fact that there was some constitutional deficiency, which was a position subsequently also taken by the Ghana Bar Association, and there was so much controversy. We've gone past it. Now we find ourselves here I have confidence that so far, given the composition of the committee, we hope to see justice being done. Except to say that we need to elevate the conversation to take a very nationalistic view, which is that for such processes, right, we need to look beyond the person involved, right? Very respectfully, for want of a better example, let's even say you have a Shylock involved, right?
You have a what involved?
You have a Shylock.
Oh, from Merchant of Venice.
Yes, you have a Shylock involved. Right. You still would want to see compliance with due process of law. And that is why at this stage, for instance, I would want us to look at this whole process and ask ourselves again that as a nation, the Constitution has sanctioned the an in-camera hearing. That is a secret proceedings, right? And we don't even know the procedure that will govern the hearing. Okay? And so it is something that we must ponder on. I'm saying that I have confidence in the personnel so far constituted. You have distinguished Supreme Court judges involved. The other persons I know very little about, but I have no reason to doubt their credibility. But for fairness, there ought to be predictability in the process. Where is the rules that govern it? I've heard, for instance, that in the case of Madame Charlotte Osei, the procedure was agreed upon at the stage of the hearing. What people fail to see, and that is why I'm highlighting.
My apologies. Let me seek clarity here. I have read documentation that points to, since you are talking of processes, I have read some documentation that points to the fact that she did not even get to see what her accusations were before, the point where shortly before or right at when she had to respond.
That is problematic.
To these accusations.
Problematic, and that is problematic. It was problematic then, except to say that this time, we know that, if what has been leaked into the public domain is anything to go by, then we would say that we know the persons who petitioned, right?
Yeah, but in this instance, a request was made. The presidency said they were in the course of doing that anyway, and they furnished the CJ with the petitions, right? But in that instance, so it appears she was barred totally from getting them.
Benjamin, I haven't faulted it. I haven't faulted anything, right? And I'm not comparing the two to say that one is better than the other.
Right.
I am saying that if you look, for instance, the Electoral Commissioner, the appointment of the Electoral Commissioner doesn't even go through Parliament. You have the appointment of the Chief Justice going through Parliament. Okay? Now, unlike ministers of state, the judges and the Electoral Commissioner and the Chief Justice, their removal is provided for by the Constitution. I have stated previously that I believe that the removal was provided for in the Constitution to secure their independence, right? And indeed, also acknowledge the processes and the philosophy behind the process, right, for their appointment. Okay? Now, the point I am making is that let's make sure there is greater accountability in the removal processes by providing for a prior regulation to govern the proceedings, so that it is not a case that we have, something that we come up with as and when the situation occurs. That really, very respectfully, takes away predictability and makes it, a kangaroo-like process, which is not good.
And of course, we know how important precedent is as far as the law is concerned, and also reliability of what processes will culminate in, right?
Yes. Yes. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not blaming the government because it is something that it came to meet. Okay? And so when you look at the Supreme Court case of Ejechum, for instance, they made recommendations as to what should be done, right? And I'm reliably informed that the previous Attorney General, the former Attorney General, Godfred Dame, was in the process of putting together a regulation when the tenure of office of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo came to an end, right? I believe that going forward, that is very necessary. Otherwise, we personalize the whole proceeding and make it seem like the nation is the nation versus the Chief Justice, right? When it is supposed to be, it's the nation against the person occupying the office of Chief Justice. When it is supposed to be the office per se.
Right. But don't you think it's a missed opportunity? You see, some of these things, you can never tell. You can never tell how voters will go. And you speak about the former AG, Godfred Dame, and some plans that could have been in the works. But the likes of Martin Kwibu, in recent months, when he's spoken about this, he also references the fact that back then, when he kept bringing this matter, that look, when it comes to the judiciary and some of these clauses, we have to take a second look at them. People said he was only saying it for certain interests. And now it's coming back to bite the system, so to speak. Again, what do you think should be the way forward, especially as we have the likes of Kwesi Prempeh and a second bite at the constitutional review? What do you think can be done in the immediate term?
I think that, I'm going to be very frank with you. There's something we need to appreciate as a people. There's nothing which is perfect from scratch.
Right.
I wasn't expecting a perfect constitution, but I was expecting a progressive society and a progressive Supreme Court that when it gets an opportunity to interpret some of these things, they will bring a more progressive perspective to it. For instance, I would dare say, and I want to be quoted right, that I think that on the issue of Article 146 of the Constitution, it is the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana that has disappointed us and not the framers of the Constitution. I have heard, for instance, Madame Sophia Akufo, the former Chief Justice.
And I was about to reference her. Go ahead.
Yes, made comments about how lax that whole provision is. But you see, go to a place like the United States of America. They don't have a constitution which is as voluminous as ours. Okay? But it's supposed to be interpreted to give meaning and grow it. And that is why I constantly love to quote Sowa GSC when he says that the Constitution is a living organism. Okay? When the opportunity comes, there must be a very comprehensive interpretation, right, that would see growth. Okay? But when you look at Article 146 and the way the Supreme Court has approached it, I believe that in the future, when they should have the opportunity, they should take a very critical look at it again. Because you see, I've heard some commentators say, yes, Ejechum came to resolve it. Yes, Ejechum came to resolve it. Then the Supreme Court in the Terry case, right, wouldn't have come to say that they think that the prima facie should take a certain approach. You understand?
Right.
Go and look at the Ghana Attorney General versus Ghana Bar Association. A certain perspective was taken. When it came to Ejechum, they took a more, they took a step further from the Ghana Bar Association authority. Then in the Terry case, they didn't even say by way of ratio, but rather obita. right, in terms of what they think should be done as far as the prima facie determination is concerned.
Right.
That should tell you that when you take the 3 cases that I've just listed, right, not much of the comprehensive work was done by our Supreme Court in respect of Article 146 of the Constitution. That is why we are where we are today. All I am saying is that when cases come to our Supreme Court for determination, let the court very respectfully do a more thorough work by looking into the future than seeking to, do what we are, where we, by going along the lines of where we find ourselves today.
Right.
And let all politicians begin to look at things from a more nationalistic approach, right? Because, my brother, when we are in office for 4 years. Tomorrow, the people of Mensah South may decide that I shouldn't be in office tomorrow. Tomorrow, touch wood, I may not be alive, but my children may be alive. Let's all begin to look at things from a more holistic and nationalistic perspective. And that is why I'm also recommending that the situation where, when issues relating to Article 146 comes up, and then we think it is okay for the committee to now come up with a procedure to regulate proceedings, for me, it is inappropriate. There ought to be a proper regulation, which we all know ahead of time, that will regulate the proceedings.
Right. It's interesting because it's just yesterday I was trying to find the article. I was reading something about the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the United States, and some wranglings in there, even on the back of Trump's actions when it comes to institutions of higher learning. There have been some concerns taken to the courts and all of that. Even there, where there are 9 members and it's not a perfect system. There's no perfect system anywhere, like you rightly mentioned. But just before I get to your expectations of the process, it's in camera. We are not going to get to know what is going to happen against the wishes of some people who said, she should opt for it, but the Constitution is clear that it should be in camera. I've heard the likes of Sophia Kufu speak. She says she's not speaking against the administration, but of course there are certain things and changes that ought to happen. A former director, Mr. Asare of the Ghana School of Law, has spoken. He thinks there are issues, questions that need answers from the Chief Justice as suspended. I've spoken to a former president of the Ghana Bar Association who thinks same. There is Justice Atuguba, as you well know, recently retired, who has also spoken to the issues. When it comes to the panel, their sittings, what can we expect? And what are your expectations, basically?
I know, I hope they will do justice, not by Madam Sophia Kufu, but justice by the people of the Republic of Ghana.
You say hope. Do you trust they will? I mean, you know the members of the panel. Do you trust they will?
I have no reason to doubt them.
You have no reason to doubt them. All right. Well, maybe just a final bit in there before I bring in a final issue. What would you want to see as part of the process? Though we can't see the process, but in the end, what would convince you that that process has been free, fair, transparent? What are some of the signs you would want to see?
It is very difficult to say what you would want to see in terms of the process, because the process is in camera, so there's nothing I can see as far as the process is concerned. But in the end, I would want to see a very reasoned decision, right, being made public, because even if the proceedings is in camera, I believe that the decision should be made public. Because, again, the Chief Justice went through a certain procedure in terms of a certain process in terms of her appointment that involved the representatives of the people of the Republic of Ghana.
Right.
Okay. And she's been removed, right, in a constitutionally sanctioned procedure which doesn't involve the representatives of the Republic of Ghana.
Right.
The people themselves would therefore not get to see or participate in the process, either directly by watching what goes on, and their representatives are far removed also from it. The only way they will be able to tell whether what transpired was fair or not is a reasoned decision that will be for public record.
Right.
And so I think that that is very necessary.
Okay. The final bit, though, I just want to run by you because it's become topical on different fronts. The CEO of GoldBod, Sammy Gyamfi, whom the acting CEO, I should say, whom there was this accusation against in respect of giving some money out to Mama Pat, Nana Agrada. There are many who have come to his defense and spoken about his character as an individual and how this was just, a blip. We've also heard from the presidency saying that he's been given a stern warning, which is part of the code of conduct as per the presidency in recent times, and that he should go and sin no more. What's your quick reaction to that?
Ordinarily, because you had not told me this was part of the issues we're going to discuss, I wouldn't have commented on it. But I'll tell you something. Ordinarily, I wouldn't, but this one, I'll tell you something. Let's begin to elevate national conversation. Let's look at ways we want to sustain our democracy beyond personalities, so that if the personalities are coming in, right, they are coming in because we are not looking at them, but we are looking at the future of our democracy. That is how I want to look at things. Okay? So ordinarily, this issue, I don't think, perhaps because it is Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, who we all know, can be very abrasive in terms of his attack. That is his political style, right? But question is this: where do we want to get with our democracy? Are the things we are doing today the kind that would make the democracy sustainable in the next 8 to 20 years? Right? If they are not, then we need to all advise ourselves, not just Sammy Gyamfi, even myself as a politician.
Right.
We are all guilty one way or the other, by one conduct or the other. You understand? And so if it is of the kind that will make democracy unattractive to the masses, then we need to revise it. So perhaps
on that very point, just to add on to that point, so you conclude, there are those who said that his head had to roll. But I've listened to anti-graft campaigners, including the likes of Edem Sedano, among others, who have said that, it was not in good taste, especially considering certain surrounding issues, but that it is not enough grounds on which to say the person ought to be dismissed, looking at what work he's done and all of that. Do you agree with that standpoint?
Let me draw your mind. Let me draw your attention to something. In the 60s, a minister of state of this country called
Krobweduse. I knew
went to England, bought a golden bed, and gave a tip of £5. This was in the 60s. In England, which at the time was not a cashless society, right? And it was unheard of. It made news at the time in England, which was not a cashless society. So you can imagine that in a cashless Western society now, if a public official should give money in the kind which my brother did, it would have raised a major uproar. Is that the democracy we want in Ghana? If it is the democracy we want in Ghana, then this is certainly an issue. Okay? As to whether or not his head should roll, right, for me, I don't think it rests with me. It rests with the president and his judgment on the issues. But for us as a nation, what kind of democracy do we want? Especially considering the volatility around us now.
Right.
Okay? Where, you know, the alternative to democracy is becoming attractive, or is being made attractive by some Western nations. Okay? Is this what we want? Because you have growing unemployment in our country. You have, even within the NDC, there are a lot of people that they will not be able to satisfy by way of even appointment and other opportunities that come with government. Okay? And so that definitely is likely to generate envy. And they are going to look at such actions and condemn it. And if you monitor social media, you had NDC people condemning what happened. Okay? Now, if tomorrow the alternative to democracy is sold to the Ghanaian people, who are supposed to be the vanguards of our democracy, would they stand up to defend democracy because of our conduct as politicians? Should be the discussion.
Okay.
Because if the people will not stand up to defend democracy, particularly taking into account the recent Afrobarometer survey, then we have a problem. And so you and I, who have been presented the opportunity by democracy to be who we are today, very respectfully, you can sit on radio and speak. You have a job opportunity there, because until democracy, there was only one radio station in Ghana, which was GBC.
Right.
Until democracy, there was no parliament for me, right? The son of Efia Bwadua to be part of it. Until democracy, there wasn't that kind of freedom with which lawyers even practice law. And they're very respectfully, some degree of prosperity that came with it, for which reason today I can call myself a lawyer happily. And so democracy has presented to us various opportunities, for which reason it is a better alternative than all the systems available.
Okay.
If that is the case, we need to guard it jealously. And therefore, when looking at matters of this nature, we can tell him that, bro, you may be generous, you may be a good man. However, for the optics, this might not be appropriate.
Right.
And so going forward, let us all check our conduct. So it's not just Sammy Gyamfi.
Right.
It should be a message to all of us politicians that let's begin to check our conduct going forward. Because a hungry man is an angry man.
Right.
You know, when a hungry man sees that you have been in power for just 4 months, okay? You've been in power for just 4 months, and you can share this money. When he previously didn't see a video of you sharing this money, when he previously don't know where you work, because I don't think that Sammy Gyamfi would not be able to, doesn't have $10,000. I don't think so.
Right.
He's been a lawyer for some time. I don't know the work he does. I don't know who he's connected to. So he might have various sources that can give him that amount of money. However, it may not be good for the optics.
Okay.
You see, just as the Bible says, all things may be permissible, but not all things are legal.
Right.
All things may be legal, but not all things are permissible.
Are good to be done.
So we need to be guided.
Okay. Thank you, Nana J. Bafwewa. It's been good having you this morning, and I wish you the best of the day, sir.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. He's a lawyer. He's also Member of Parliament for Menchia South. And of course, there is also that bit. Sweetie Abochi joins me in the studio. We know that Felix Kwachiofosu has also stated what happens from here. There's no further action beyond a caution, according to government. That's for the acting CEO of GoldBod, and he has come out unscathed. Let's watch a bit of that interaction where the Minister of Government Communication had this interaction.
The view is that, to begin with, the presidency acknowledges Mr. Sammy Gyamfi's immediate act of contrition and the acknowledgement of the need to express regrets over that incident. So that apology has been taken on board. You do recall that when President Mahama launched the Code of Conduct, he said that one of the remedies for any potential breach was a public apology. He also said one of the potential remedies was a caution from the highest levels of government. After the interaction with the Chief of Staff, the Chief of Staff cautioned him, having acknowledged the apology he made. He cautioned him and impressed upon him to take on board public sentiment and act in ways that reflect public expectation. The Chief of Staff also took the opportunity to reissue the same caution that the President had sent to all appointees to be circumspect in their conduct. There may be things that may be commonplace in our private lives, but once you become a public official, you need to be sensitive to public expectation, and therefore that ought to guide the way that you order your steps. So in view of that, Presidency does not believe that any further action ought to be taken beyond the apology and the caution. And we all take a cue from it and are going to do better in order to meet the expectations of the Ghanaian public. We value feedback. We are aware that Ghanaians expect high standards in the performance of our duties as public officials. We remain committed to meeting those high standards.
Well, so there you have it. The government spokesperson said they value feedback. And so we want to hear from you what you make of this decision to just reprimand Sammy Gyamfi. We already have callers on the line. Kwame from Kwabenya, good morning. You're live. What's on your mind?
Hello.
We can hear you loud and clear, Kwame. Share your thoughts.
Wonderful. Listen, there has been attempts at trying to equalize or, equanimity, let me say, between Cecilia Dapa's issue and Sammy issue. Listen, Cecilia Dapa, way back in the 70s, was flying up and down London and trading in dollars. Changes money, goes, buys her things. She's been a businesswoman long, had her houses, if not one in Kumasi and Accra, long before she got into politics. What I'm trying to point out here is that when you hear that Sammy Gyamfi also lives in Airport, Hill. And then we ask ourselves, what kind of a lawyer who makes that kind of money, even in opposition, to be able to afford? We've been played on by a certain group of young people that our late president.
Kwame, we have a number of callers, so you have to wrap up for us. Make it brief.
Yeah. I'll do that quickly. Jerry Rollins, referred to as, young people with sharp teeth. Let's be very, very careful about how we respond to these things.
All right.
Sammy Gyamfi ought to have been removed. Sanctions in one way or the other, not to let go. He himself knows what he did was grievous, but for the president to say this, it's very disappointing. All
right, Kwame, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. We also have Godwin from Bema Camp. Good morning, Godwin. Do we still have Godwin from Bema Camp with us?
It appears we don't have Godwin. Godwin, can you hear me? It appears we don't have Godwin on the line. It's interesting, isn't it? The way we always try to indeed equalize, because then someone says, oh, she had been trading for a long time. The same way some people now have jumped to the defense of Sammy Gyamfi saying, oh, but he did all this work. He worked for these entities. It's an interesting bit. But we have Achu calling from Hohoi in the Volta region. Achu, good morning.
Achu,
go ahead, Achu.
Yes. About Sammy Gyamfi's issue. Even the Bible, when you do wrong, they give you time to, maybe 3 times to Maybe apologize. And Sammy Gyamfi, that very day, he apologized for what he did wrong. So why are we comparing apples to oranges? Why are MPP behaving so?
All right. Well, Achu, we're grateful for your thoughts.
Well, let's speak to someone from Razak from Bono East. Yeah. Razak, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your take on the matter?
Okay, mine is that I just want...
Have we lost Razak? Oh, well, looks like we don't have Razak with us, but the numbers are on your screen, 030-2211-691, extension 1 or 691-2. Adams, good morning. You're live on the AM show. What's your take on the Sammy Gyamfi issue and many other things we discussed this morning?
Thank you very much. Let me say that good morning to your listeners. I'm very happy that the discussion is going on. What I can say is that, you see, in life, when you make a first mistake and you are being cautioned or you are being warned, the next one is for you to take a right step. So I believe that for Sammy Gyamfi issue, I think he has learned a lot of lessons from what happened. And I believe going forward, it's also an example to all the appointees. Because if you decide to do the wrong thing, then you are likely to go. So now he will take his life and then his private life serious because of what happened. And I believe that all of us will learn from it going forward. So let's give him a second chance that we see how the whole thing will go. And I'm happy that the president has able to give him a second chance.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. The latest update, well, we have Stephen from the Western region calling us. Stephen, good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Okay, let's hear you out.
People are comparing Sammy Gyamfi to Madam Cedi Adapa. Sammy Gyamfi did not come nowhere near close to Madam Cedi Adapa. Not at all. Because Madam Cedi Adapa has been working so many years. Where from Sammy Gyamfi? How much is $10,000? Almost $13,500. Giving to Mama Pat.
Well, the figure I mean, we don't know for sure, but they're saying $800. So you can't say $1,000 because you cannot confirm that either.
It's more than $800. It's $1,000. Mama Pat confirm it.
The same Mama Pat said it's $800. Let's stick with that. Whilst we cannot confirm, let's use what they're saying and then go on with your submission.
Okay, assuming it's $800. How much now? The rate is 13 to the 50 pesos. Assuming it's $800. Now the rate is 50 pesos. How much is it? More than 10,000. So how come just less than 5 months donating or sharing 10,000 to each person? And you need to be careful. That's why the critical now agent now is Mahama. He has cleared you. Another one will come. Then it continues. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for sharing them. It's interesting. I'll share my thoughts after we take the next caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm David, calling from Stockport.
All right. What are your quick thoughts, David?
Yeah, please, can I speak Fanti?
Okay, we'll try. We'll try to explain the key.
Okay. Yeah, good morning. Wanapome.
Boko now say.
Yamenadom.
Yamenadom. Martin de Ghana for ye and there may be on some fata. I mean, Sammy Gyamfi about zipa na waye. About zipa na waye fumugwa all day. Yakasa bebre. Here time in I spend what the men's a do. One hindi on charge that. Him hindi on charge that. A biala charge that. The Munguin Pokra or the phone call to Sammy Gyamfi do. Do clock car no. My me no said what a fact will be sanazi. So yeah, the man Sammy Gyamfi one quarter of catch the one quarter of catch sika. Mamina no all beside there, Mam Petroway. Mam Petroway, no Sammy Quirky sika or Kalim the man. Osan or Goya or woman you pay ya organanti. Into one panel from ya or the Yakasan who be brave, yes, say him bringing now will be Bia who why been Puntur Ghana. All the year you know, you then Puntur Bano. Your boy send you some of them lay and couple our boy and the idea watching a member and couple of boy Konama. Your castle, the man is a car or that check or Yabazi. Sammy Gyamfi could be an Azi.
All right.
So
thank you so much.
What David is saying is what has been done isn't something out of the ordinary. It appears we are spending a lot of time talking about this issue, and that what at all, his question is, what at all has Sammy Gyamfi done? And it was just a woman who solicited funds from him, asking for something for fuel, and he's a kind person. He just aided her, so to speak. But the only thing I want to add to all of this is, you know, the whole juxtapositions that we keep bringing to bear. Let's not forget that in Cecilia Dapa's end, or in her issue, we're talking about a sum of $1 million stolen. Even per the law, there are different dynamics. Here, someone has given out $1,000. We say all of them are things that we don't want. So let's deal with them in that line. But anyway, let's also acknowledge a recent development before we share some topical issues with you as well. We do know that the Minister for Labour has been elevated, if you like. He's received, he's in faraway Geneva, and there have been some appointments made. I'll just give you the details in a bit. So indeed, he has been appointed co-chair of a high-level ILO conference in Geneva. That's the Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment, Dr. Rashid Pelpo. And he's been appointed co-chair of the tripartite high-level session of the upcoming Fair Recruitment Initiative conference, scheduled to take place from May 19 to 21. And so we salute him and we wish him the very best on that journey. Sweetie?
Yes, I want to celebrate a number of people because looks like the birthdays are pouring in. Happy birthday to my sister, Jose. You are the most amazing sister ever. Your kindness, strength, and laughter light up every room you walk into. I'm so grateful to have you in my life, not just as family, but as a true friend. May this new year bring you endless joy, love, and every dream your heart desires. Keep shining. This is coming from my colleague, Semefak Basu, to her wonderful sister. There's another one also coming from Nicholas. And this says, happy birthday, Sister Portia at German. Is she in Germany? May God grant you all your heart's desires and satisfy you with long life. From Nana Sewa, aka International. More birthday wishes when we continue with the program. But Ghana, let's talk about water tanks. Because you do know the secret to real water story. We've told you over and over again that it's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. Yes, that's right. The Syntex tank is the champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. So whether rain or shine, Syntex tank has got your back. So as you hear my voice now, go outside and check your tank. And if it doesn't have the tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Here's the number to call: 0244 335 168. Call this number to buy now or find one of 400 agents nationwide. And you can also shop online at syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. Ben will tell you more in a series of important information you should take note of. But right after the AM show today, we have the climate talks coming your way. As you can see there on your screen, hosted by my colleague Beza Sogam, we have a wonderful panel, really, and the topic is nationally determined contributions, clean cooking. And this is happening at Freeman Methodist Church in Jamestown. As you can see, we have Dr. Richard Bright. We have Dr. Richard Bright Daniel. We have Sarah Na Day Agbe, and we have, of course, Daryl Bosu, a very popular one. We have Kwabno Owusu Safo and Lovan Owusu Techi. Those are the panelists for the conversation happening right after the AM show, so you don't want to miss any of it. Ben.
Well, let me ask you, are you ready to dream, dare, and deliver in the world of IT? Well, look no further than the Jackson Institute of Technology, the only NIIT authorized training center in Ghana. At JIT, we provide world-class IT training for individuals and corporate organizations, equipping you with industry-relevant skills in software development, cybersecurity, networking, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, and a whole lot more. We offer globally recognized certifications, practical job-ready training, and flexible hybrid learning options, which allow you to study online or on-site. Our expert instructors also ensure hands-on learning experiences that prepare you for success in today's digital world. It's conveniently located on the Ring Road near Circle in the heart of Accra's Central Business District, and in Kumasi at the Jackson Educational Complex HQ at Yeduase near the KNUST. JIT provides easy access for students and corporate clients, and of course our state-of-the-art auditorium is also available for corporate events, seminars, and training sessions. All you have to do is call or WhatsApp us on these numbers: 0596 996 037 or 0596 996 038, or finally 0552 714 635. You can check out our website www.jit.edu.gh. JIT, your gateway to a thriving IT career. When we return, how concerned are you about what you put in your body when you go to that mall, that supermarket, the market, to purchase items? Are you concerned about the quantum of calories, sugars, salt, sodium, saturated fats? Well, we have a conversation on that in respect of putting on the front of these products warnings, nutritional values in respect of them, and why it is important for Ghana to start doing the same. That conversation comes your way right after the break. Welcome back on the AM show. Like I said, we're talking health and we're focusing on front of pack nutritional or warning labels. There are different dimensions to them, and which our Food and Drugs Authority ought to feed in. Well, joining us in the studio, we have Professor Kingsley Asare Preko. He's an associate professor and senior member, Department of Community Medicine and Vice Dean School of Medical Sciences, and also an immediate past president of the GAND. We also have in the studio Pearl Ehwanam Selome, who is PRO of the GAND. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's good to have you join the conversation. Let me start with you, Prof, very quickly. How important is it to have this conversation on labeling on food? Recently, someone showed me a product, and I didn't realize it, but they had stuck a whole new label on it. The same thing, but because the expiry date had changed, it was an expired product. They had put a whole new label on it, covering the original label.
Right.
Why is it important that we take a look at some of these things?
Well, it's really, really very important. I would start from the statement that always comes up when we talk about nutrition, that you are what you eat.
Right.
And I simply say that if we are what we eat, then we should be mindful of what we take into our bodies. Importantly, when it comes to processed or packaged foods, you are not in the kitchen where it was cooked. And there are many things that comes within these food that have been packaged or processed that might be detrimental to your health. For example, if you are diabetic, for example, and you are picking on foods that are having high sugar content and all that, you may never know unless something is placed behind the pack of whatever you are consuming that tells you what is in it for you. Then you can be a bit cautious about what you have to take. Importantly, like you indicated earlier, that, when the expiry is hidden, when foods expire, it comes with all sorts of issues, which might not be in good taste for your health and well-being. So as part of we being concerned about what we take into our body, since our body is just made up of what we eat, it is important to know what is going into your body. And package, front of pack labels gives us more of a direction as to what is going into us, and gives us an idea about what we should do as far as these foods are concerned.
Okay, so let's, Paul, let's talk about the importance of this push now, this campaign for front of pack labeling. Why is it so important today?
Thank you very much. Having the labels and this campaign is very important because currently we are dealing with a disease burden. When you look at the data, the number of Ghanaians that are getting the NCDs, talk about diabetes, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and the heart diseases keep rising.
Cardiac issues.
Yes, and it is linked to dietary practices, what kind of food choices people are making. So we believe that it's timely that these labels are made mandatory so that when somebody is making a choice of food or snack, whatever, they know what they are going in for. And we believe also that it will help reduce the disease burden in the country. Because countries that have been able to do this are seeing reduction in this regard.
Right. How does this work to protect consumers? How exactly will it work to protect consumers?
It would protect consumers because, like Prof said earlier on, if you walked into a grocery shop and you wanted to make a choice of snack or a food package, because you know what is in there, you will make a better choice.
An informed choice.
An informed choice. If it's blank and you don't really know what you are taking in, it makes it really difficult to know what you are going in for. So in a way, it's going to help the consumer make better or healthier choices.
And Prof, we are not alone in this. About 40 countries have different legal instruments on some of these developments. And topical among them, you have the US, which has now decided to have certain stringent measures. Companies producing, these products with 10 million plus in revenue. In 3 years, they must get things done. Others below that, in 4 years, they must get it done. And what Pearl said about the health burden, it reflects in their country. How does it reflect in Ghana? And why should we, pay attention to it?
Well, I think that I'm sure you glance the news more than I do. But, I mean, from the research evidence that we have, we are having a rising burden of non-communicable diseases in the country. And this is also really, really a very pressing issue for Ghana. As we are battling undernutrition, issues of overnutrition is also plaguing us. And recent GDHS report places around 50s for adults, overnutrition and obesity. Children are also not spared in all these processes. And we know that the after effects of these issues are the non-communicable diseases and the varied metabolic syndromes that we have within our space. So within Ghana, we are having a serious issue as far as NCDs are concerned. And importantly, as we transit, we are having a bit of transition in our diet. We are leaving the normal cooked foods that we have within our homes to eating much from the streets and eating much of processed diets, which have key implications on our health. And this makes it very, very relevant for us that we do this to save the situation. Of course, the other aspect also is the cost of care. When you look at the issue of NCDs, it's really, really high. I mean, take a basic thing like kidney disease. I mean, to go on dialysis is not a joke. And even for basic cardiovascular disease issues, when you go to the hospital now, the test results, they're just doing the test alone is of a very high cost. And so it's something that we should strongly do in this space of time to save the situation.
And speaking of that cost, if, again, the American example, because sometimes we don't have this data here, how much we are spending, about what? Almost $5 trillion going into dealing with these cardiac issues, obesity, diabetes, and all of them.
All that.
The cancers, you see. And let's not forget that it would impact you medical insurance, debt for some people, and even work, the labor force. But what then is the solution? What can be done? Let me come to Prof on that before I come to Pearl.
Well, quite a number of things have to be done in this. Importantly, improving the information base of the public, creating awareness within the public. But there are things we call upstream and downstream factors, things that you have control of and other things that you don't have control of, like the space. The media space is full of advertisements that is enticing you every day. Right. When you go to the market, things that are cheaper are the processed ones and not the raw food. So policies that address the marketing of foods, policies that addresses improving agriculture and all that are important. But one of the most important public health policies that have really helped is also front of pack warning labeling that helps guide consumer choices of what to eat and how to eat healthily. It's one of the main front of pack warning label has been one of the most effective policies, and that is why probably we are much more into this. But it goes with many other policies, improving agriculture, improving our food systems, having policies that mandates certain regulations to be respected. Important when it comes to marketing restrictions and all that of these foods that are harmful to us.
Paul, we know that talking dietetics, you would know, the more processed a certain food is, the more likely it is to give you all of these things, more saturated fats and all that. How crucial is policy then in shaping all of this? What can we do from where we are?
Well, in terms of policy, like Prof already said, we need a lot of support from government to make sure that these policies are implemented. Okay. Because if they are in place, we can run with it. The various stakeholders, the various agencies that are supposed to make sure that these policies are working will come on board, and then we'll see the change that we are seeking to see. At the end of the day, we want to see healthier populations. We want to see healthier workforces. We want to see the disease burden of the country going down. And so, that is why we need these policies implemented.
Do we have, as a country, do we have any policies in place yet? Are there any steps we've started taking? What would be your call? I'll come to you, Prof, on that as well. But what would be your call to, policymakers, regulators, even government on this?
Our call to government and the policymakers will be that we already have conversations already ongoing, work already that is being done. Okay. In this regard, but we would humbly plead that things are sped up so that the policy is implemented.
Prof, before we get to the bit about more public involvement and all of that, on the bit about policy and where we've come so far, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I would just add that, yes, within the country we have policies that guide food, which the FDA is implementing. Of course, we have labeling
which are
policies.
Sometimes flouted.
Of course, because there are always spaces within it that allows the industry or others to forgo. But again, when it comes to the aspect of food labeling, there are policies that guide that at least when you pick any food in Ghana, there are some basic information you should have, country of origin, expiry date, and those information. These are all within our policies. But it comes with its own shortcoming. Within the country, also other policies are being pushed because they can also help improve the food environment. And part of it has been the fiscal policies like the SSB issues. Part of it has been market restriction policies, food procurement policies for government institutions and all that are being developed. And importantly also the front of pack warning label is under various stages of its development within the space of Ghana, of course. And I'm sure within time it may come up.
Growing up, whenever we sang that song, "Arise, Ghana Youth for Your Country," we would get to the point where we would say, we are all involved. Exactly. How involved should we be as ordinary citizens in pushing this, especially as parents who will buy these things for children, as the children and others who will consume them? How concerned should we be?
I think from the parents' side, we should be. Because currently we see that it's the children that are telling us what to do.
I want this.
I want this. And you can't deny your child. So we should be very involved in helping push for policies that would restrict the space within which some of these foods that impact on our health are advertised. We also have to be involved as far as we are as a community, because when you get sick, the family budget is hugely affected. Our health, the cost of health on our family budget is high. And some diseases would really drain the family of its coffers. So this should push us to demand government as the same as we demand for road, the same as we demand for hospitals. I think what we should focus our attention on is demanding for things that would prevent us from going to the hospital in the first place.
Okay.
And
now, looking at all of this information you've given us, before I take your final words, Pearl, where can people go to join this campaign? I mean, social media, website, where can people go?
Yeah, so on social media, we've done a number of campaigns. Okay. So you go to the GAN website. And
that is GAND website.
Yeah, and then also the social media handles, a number of campaigns.
Can you give the full rendition so that people can know where exactly to go to? And while she gets that ready, Prof, what will be your final message for us? Action, what should we be doing? And what are the key details of tomorrow's launch?
Right, okay, good. The key details of tomorrow's launch is we trying to advocate for a mandatory front of pack warning label policy, as that has been one that has been very significant in impacting public health outcomes. And we would expect that Ghana brace itself to embrace it just as many other countries are embracing to control and improve their food environment.
Okay. That will be the message. Pearl, are you ready for us now?
Yeah, so on Facebook we have the Ghana Academy for Nutrition and Dietetics. Yes, and then...
So the Ghana Academy of Nutritionists or Nutrition and Dietetics. Okay.
Yes. Right. And then on Instagram, we are official GAN _.
Official GAN _. And what we are talking about is kind of like now when you pick a cigarette pack, you see how boldly it is there. Smoking kills and all of that with lungs. And back then, it wasn't like that. That is the kind of arrangement we are talking about. But this time for all food and other products, where you would see clearly the levels of saturated fats, sugars, added sugars, and all of that. So you see what you are buying. And if you are buying it cheaper, you know that it may be cheap, but this could be the cost to your health. I'd like to say a very big thank you to you. Maybe if you have some 15 seconds, any final words, then we go.
Well, my final words to Ghanaians is that, like Prof said, you are what you eat. And you have the power to make a choice that would fuel disease in you or heal you.
Right.
So always keep that in mind when you are making your food choices.
You are what you eat. Prof?
Yeah.
Right, so nutrition is the bane of development. And if we fail to improve our nutrition in Ghana, we will entirely fail the nation.
Right. Thank you so much. Where is the launch happening?
It's going to be at the College of Physicians and Assistants.
Okay, so the College of Physicians and Assistants, you say?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. And those who joined us for the conversation, Professor Kingsley Asare Preko, he's an associate professor. He's also a senior member, Department of Community Medicine, and Vice Dean of the School of Medical Sciences, and an immediate past president of the Ghana Association of Nutrition and Dietetics. We also had from that association, the PRO, Pearl Ehonam Selome. On that note, we take a breather. Don't you forget, the AM show is proudly sponsored by Waylead Properties. They provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back on the AM show. Yes, we're capping it off. Sweetie will be telling you about Ghana Grows in a bit. But don't you forget, we have that public lecture coming up at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. That is next Monday, the 19th day. In fact, it is actually the 19th of June, 2025, not this month. It's at 5:30 p.m. at the Kwame Nkrumah Auditorium of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. And the topic is iniquities of inequity in our Santa Claus democracy. Mr. Yao Nsako will be delivering that. So you want to make a date just about a month and a few days from now. Let's address that topical issue.
Well, let me squeeze in two celebrations. First from Mumbarak Haruna going out to Swad Seidu Kuta. Swad Seidu Kuta, Mumbarak is wishing you a happy birthday. He says he wishes you the very best in life, more blessings and prosperity. Ami. And also to Makafui's brother, Wisdom Agbagba. Happy birthday. Makafu is one of our cameramen here. And he says he wishes you the very best in your life, and he'll see you later in Senyu Momo. So happy birthday going out to you, and thank you all so much.
I know the Momo part was not added to the message.
It wasn't. But I added it because Makafu has to send Momo. But you know.